السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. YouTube, كيف الحال يا YouTube? What we saying? I'm looking at the chat, yeah. Already 185 comments or 200 comments, and we haven't even started the stream. That's how you know the stream's going to be live. It's going to be live because we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to be, after I'm done with my opening monologue, dissecting and destroying what needs to be destroyed. I will then open the phone lines and I will invite you on to change my mind. Change my mind. I challenge you. Try. I guarantee you will not be able to, but you can try anyway. Nevertheless, I don't mind. I'll give you that opportunity to change my mind. For those of you who are here for the first time, I had a few new individuals watching me yesterday. Welcome. My name is Mahdi Tijani, the infamous, as opposed to famous. I think I'm more infamous than anything. And I talk about relationship-ish with a specific bent towards Muslims. But to be quite frank with you, the issues we discuss are more psychological principles in terms of getting the best out of your woman and other such things that we delve into the channel. So you will find what I go into useful regardless of whether you are a Muslim or not, for that matter. And if you're not Muslim, I humbly invite you towards Islam. Embrace Islam. Embrace the truth. All right. What we guys saying? Mushi, I see you in there. Top G. Khalid Saleh, my guy. I don't know if you guys saw my community post earlier. Wallahi, I saw a photo of Andrew Tate. A recent photo, poor guy. So he looks so disheveled. His hair's all grown out. He just got his hair squared back on his head. He's got hair on his head. His hair's back on his head. And subhanAllah, he had a picture of the Quran. In fact, you know what? For those of you who haven't seen it, let me just share this with you right now. Let me just share this thing, Bev. Right, first of all, let's open up a new tab. Open up the community page, and I just want to share it with you. Wallahi, yani, let me share this with you. Bismillah. Chrome tab. Yeah, here's the one. Check this out. Just him holding the Quran, yani. That's it. That's all it is. It's nothing else. It's just him holding the Quran. Wallahi, yani, and you can see in my caption here. Wallahi, I love him for the love that he has for our religion. Uqsim billah. I love him for the love that he has for our religion. And he's always spoken positively about Islam, even before embracing Islam. But still, man, you guys know how it is. For those of you who are Muslim, which is the majority of my audience, you know how it is when you feel that love for somebody who proudly embraces the religion and he's not shy to shy away. And then if you guys follow him on Twitter, by the way, he posts a lot on Twitter. It's his team that are posting on his behalf. He's obviously instructing them from jail. Every hour there's another tweet. And oftentimes he posts ayat of the Quran. And one of the ayat he posted today, I actually shared it on my Instagram, was, if Allah should aid you, no one can overcome you. Subhanallah. What's the ayah in Arabic? Let me see now. Somebody write the ayah in Arabic, please, in the chat, and I will pull it up onto the screen. There's a lot of you in the chat today. But if I catch it quick enough, I'll pull it up onto the screen. If Allah should aid you, no one can aid you. In tansurullah la ghaliba lakum. It might be that. For in tansurullah la ghaliba lakum, or something along those lines. I just literally translated it into my head directly. And I know there's an ayah that is similar to that. Aywa, let's see. There's an ayah here. Is it هذا القرآن? No, that's not it, rude boy. That's not the one. أيوة بارك الله فيك. إن ينصركم الله فلا غالب لكم. If you can put the what do you call it? What's the word? The punctuation. It'd make it easier for me because my reading of Arabic is not excellent. And with the Quran, you have to get it exactly as it is pronounced. Otherwise, it's a mistake. I believe I've said that correctly. If Allah aids you, nobody can defeat you. Beautiful ayah. Absolutely beautiful ayah. Subhanallah. Yeah, man. Today's stream is not about tape, but man, it's like it hits you. Do you understand what I'm saying? It hits you, man. Alhamdulillah. May Allah aid our brother in his cause, no doubt. You know, I was just having this chat with my father just before I set this all up. And, you know, I was talking about the ayah. We were talking about the ayah in the Quran where Allah says, I believe it's in Surah Ibrahim, وَقَدْ مَكَرُوا مَكْرَهُمْ وَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَكْرُهُمْ وَإِنْ كَانَ مَكْرُهُمْ لِتَزُولَ مِنْهُ الْجِبَالِ. And they plotted and planned, and Allah is aware of their plans, and their plans could move mountains. That's how sinister and severe their plans are. And we were talking about this ayah, me and my father, this verse in the Quran. And he mentioned that whatever plots and plans the disbelievers make, even if for all intents and purposes, for all appearances, it appears as though that they are winning or they are gaining the upper hand. They are simply making moves in a broader game that are, and that not, I don't have to be careful with my words here, in a broader plan, I should say. And that plan is the plan of Allah. And whatever moves they make is a move that Allah has allowed them to make because that is the move He wants them to make. It's a minor setback for a major comeback. It's a Pyrrhic victory. A Pyrrhic victory meaning a victory that is not worth its weight in gold. They appear, for all intents and purposes, to be winning, but actually they are losing. And any victories that they have or that they experience, it's only because Allah has allowed them to, and it's part of His broader plan in the first instance. Subhanallah. Ayo barakallah fiqh. Thank you very much, my man. This is the ayah, putting it up on the screen right now. My man, Riyadh Barili. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's going on, my man? How you doing, Akhi? Good to see you here, mashallah. Yeah, it's no victory. It's no victory for them. It appears to be a victory. That is it. What it appears like. All right, we've got 140 of you in here right now, and only 36 likes. So do your boy a solid and like the video because we are going in today. We are going in. I guarantee you, we are going in. And this stream is inspired by yesterday's khutbah, Friday prayer, and I'll explain to you why. Alhamdulillah. So I went to pray yesterday, Friday prayer. And the khatib, it wasn't actually the khatib, it was actually a gentleman who makes announcements just before the salah starts. And he mentioned in Luton specifically that there is an initiative right now, some type of Rishta networking event. Rishta is the Urdu word for marriage, I believe. And he mentioned that this initiative has come about specifically, and I'm paraphrasing what he said now, but specifically because there is an epidemic, okay? An epidemic of women in Luton, in the Muslim community, in the early, mid, and late 30s that are unmarried. It's reached epidemic proportions. Now, if you guys have been watching me for any meaningful period of time, then you will know that this is not isolated to Luton only. This is actually a global problem, at least from a Western sense anyway, in that women are holding out for longer because they believe they deserve more. And there are a number of reasons for this. In fact, I had somebody just approach me just the other day, someone in my extended family, asking me, do I know any brothers for a particular sister? She's in her mid-30s herself. She's a barrister, mashallah, tabarakallah, and she's struggling to find a husband. She can't find a husband. And I said, I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's going to be tough for her for a number of reasons. First of all, I don't have any sympathy. And let me just make this categorically clear, okay? I've got a few videos to show you guys today. Yeah, we've got a few things to go through. If you are a sister, a woman specifically, okay, I'm speaking to the women now. If you are a woman in her 30s, you're in your 30s and you're still single, you're still unmarried, I have no sympathy for you. None whatsoever. Especially me, I have no sympathy for you, because I've been running NSN marriage app on a small scale, and I see firsthand how much interest sisters who have 3, 4, 5 children with 2, 3, 4 ex-husbands get. Never mind you, Bismillah, mashallah, who has never been married before, has no children, and hopefully we expect you to be a virgin, or only Allah knows if you are or not. But in the least instance, you've never been married before and you have no children. You cannot tell me this is because nobody has come to ask for your hand. I don't believe you for a second that you are in your 30s and nobody has shown any interest to you. I don't believe you, especially if you're an educated woman, meaning you've gone through university, you now have a job, you're working your career, whatever the case may be. I don't believe you. If you are single, it's your fault. You. And you are the problem. And I'll explain to you why you are the problem. The reason why you are the problem is because the market is screaming at you. The market is screaming. The market is telling you what you are asking for, you don't qualify. What you are asking for, you do not qualify for. For if you did, you would be married by now. Now you see how it works? If you qualified for what you are demanding, you'd already be married. That guy would already have married you. Either that, or the brother you are looking for doesn't exist because you have created this Frankenstein creature in your mind as to how a man should be. If you guys saw on, was it a video I did or was it a stream? I don't remember if it was a video or a stream, but I pulled up this sister who's a reader. She's an avid reader, and she has a specific interest in romance novels, spicy romance novels. And one of the videos that she put up was normal men or real men, and then her face was like glum, like a glum face. And then the next caption was fictional men, and then her face was like. She has consumed, and she's 25 years old, by the way. She wasn't a young kid. Some of you thought she was young, like 18, 19. Now she's 25 years old. She has consumed so much of this khara, romance novels, that now the average Abdullah, the average brother, indeed men full stop, is no longer impressive to her, because she has fallen in love with the idea, with the Frankenstein notion of this guy that exists only in books. So either the brother you are looking for, you don't qualify for, because if you did, you'd be married. See how that works, right? You wouldn't be out here, you'd be married, we wouldn't be talking about you. In fact, you probably wouldn't even be watching me now, because this conversation don't apply to you. You'd be too busy with your kids, which is what you should be doing. Or you have infected, warped, corrupted the very fabric of your mind with this excessive consumption of fictional male characters, or the idea of this man that you want this guy. You know what women do, on speaking in broad terms, yeah, what a lot of women do when they are telling you what they want in a man. It's like a guy trying to tells to a car mechanic or a car creator, designer, and he says to the car designer, I would like a car that can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. That would be like a supercar, right? Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever. Has to be very low to the ground, super low center of gravity, a little bit wide, big engine, all the rest of it. But on top of that, this car needs to be able to climb vertical hills, like those cars where the wheels literally move, like monster truck type of wheels, right? Massive suspension, all the rest of it. So it has to go from 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. And it has to be able to climb vertical hills. That is what women do when they give their bucket list of how a man should be, or what they are looking for in a man. You have created an impossible idea, an impossibility. It doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. And I see that there's a sister in the chat who seems to be quite opinionated. I saw you in the chat yesterday. In fact, her name is Muslims Speaking Up for Themselves. Muslims speaking up for themselves. Well, sister, Muslims speaking up for yourself. I invite you and welcome you to speak up for yourself on the stream when I put the link in the chat. Otherwise, do you know what you can do? If you are not prepared to come on, sister, then this is what you can do. Shut up your mouth, Obama. It's very simple. You can shut up your mouth, Obama. And then after that, when you've done that, you can do this. Where's my guy, Psycho Omar? Where's my guy, Psycho Omar? He's gone. Here he is. Once you've shut your mouth, go wash your ass. Go and do that, please. Thank you very much. Shout out to Psycho Omar, by the way. So I don't have sympathy for you. I don't feel sorry for you, to be perfectly honest with you. And what's really tragic and sad is that because, and it's such an irony, because she has waited so long now, she believes she's entitled to even more than what a 18, 19, 20-year-old would expect from a man. It's ironic because the 18, 19, 20-year-old is able to command more, but the older girl demands more, and it's because she's been waiting for longer. To quote what one sister said to me, I've been fasting for so long, meaning waiting for the right man, and I don't want to break my fast on a basla. Those are her words. I don't want to break my fast on an onion. That's what she said. I get it, but the market's screaming to you. You're going to the bank and you're asking for credit, and the bank is telling you, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for that credit. Your credit score is not high enough. We can't give you the mortgage on the $600,000 home. We can only give you the mortgage on the $200,000 home. Oh, but I deserve it. I am worth it. I am worth it. And the bank guy's looking at you like, all right, love, safe. You still don't qualify though. I'm happy for your confidence. That's great. Like, I'm loving that energy. But that energy, unfortunately, is going to get me fired if I push this mortgage through. So it ain't happening. Take the $200,000 house or get out of here. That's the equivalent. And it's sad, to be honest with you. One sister many years ago, she said to me something very interesting. She said to me she was at university. And she actually met her husband at university, alhamdulillah, and she got married. She got married in her second year of uni. And she said, when she got into her second year of uni, now remember, girls who are in their second year of uni are 19 years old. All right? They're 18 or 19. Between 18, 19, and 20, right? Depending on when you went. So between 18, 19, 20, girls who are in their prime, okay? She said, when I entered the second year of uni, the third year brothers started looking at the first year sisters. And there was only 1 year in it. Just one academic year. That's not long. One academic year, that's all it was. And already she sensed, she felt, she experienced the attention being diverted to the younger sisters, even though they're all young. They're all young. And still, the brothers in the third years were now paying more attention to the sisters in the first year than the sisters in the second year. So what do you think when you hit 30 plus and you're still single and unmarried and you don't have any children and your eggs are drying up and you're starting to get stressed and worried and you're highly qualified and you believe you deserve this man, you deserve at least your equal. I'm a barrister, I should get a barrister. Habibti, the problem is the barrister that you want, he can now have whatever woman he wants. And the type of woman he wants is not like the type of man you want. Stay with me here. You want A, B, C, D, E, F, G in a guy. What you need to understand is what you are looking for in a man is not necessarily what he is looking for in a wife. And men, particularly men who have options, which is the type of man you're looking for, are going to have place an emphasis, a priority on women that they prefer innately. Part of that is tied to youth. You know, if you are 30 plus and you've never conceived before, you've never had a child before, the chances of you conceiving are considerably more difficult than if you have already conceived in your teens or 20s and you want to have another baby in your 30s. That woman who's already had babies before, she's most probably going to be able to continue having babies even into her 30s because she's already kickstarted the baby making machine. But if you haven't already kickstarted the baby making machine by the time you're in your 30s, you're going to have problems. By the age of 35, you officially hit, or forget 35. By the time you hit 30, 90% of your eggs are dead. By the time you hit 35, you officially hit geriatric pregnancy, old people's pregnancy. So if you haven't kickstarted the baby making machine in your teens and 20s, the chances of you conceiving in your 30s come down considerably. Now imagine now, I'm a barrister, okay? I've never been married before. I'm 39 years old. And this is a hypothetical example, okay? I'm 39, never been married before. I'm ready. Alhamdulillah, I'm a barrister. You know, I've got money, I got my own place. I'm ready to go. I want to start a family. Think about it logically. If I have options, who am I more likely to marry? A sister who's in her 20s, who is likely to be able to give me at least a few children, or a sister who's in her 30s, who's not only older and the wear and tear shows. And by the way, us guys, we can just tell. We can just see it. I can't even explain it. Even when a woman looks, quote unquote, good for her age. I love that term. Such a waffly term. She looks good for her age. Even when a woman looks good for her age, there's something in the skin. It's the tautness of the skin, the plumpness in the skin. It starts to diminish. It's just part of aging. It is what it is. Happens to guys as well. It's just that guys are more acutely aware of this process in women. Something in the skin, you can just tell, even if she looks great for her age, she looks amazing. She's in shape. She's got very few wrinkles, but we can see it. I can see it. You can't hide it. And age typically as well cannot be hidden in the hands and in the neck. That's the dead giveaways for women. Hands and neck. That's how you can really tell a woman's age, even if she looks by and large good in her face. So the Khatib was saying, we have an epidemic of Muslim women in Luton who are in their early, mid, and late 30s, and they're still not married. It's reached epidemic proportions. And you know, I very much doubt I will be invited to any of these events to talk or to give my tuppence worth on the issue because I'm just too controversial and I rub too many people up the wrong way. So I don't expect for a moment to be invited to any of these events, particularly where I live. Even though I've noticed, by the way, there's an extreme dichotomy in the way people feel towards me. Either they hate my guts, like it's visceral, or they would love me so much they could die for me. And it's like there's nothing in the middle. There's nothing in the middle with people. Either they hate my guts or they love me to death, and there's nothing in the middle. I had one guy beep his horn there. Oh, Assalamu alaikum, Mahdi, you're that guy from TikTok. By the way, yeah, I don't even have TikTok on my phone. It's not on my phone. I have a TikTok account. It's ran by my team. If you have a look at my TikTok account, I don't actually create new content. It's snippeted content from my YouTube channel and just thrown up on there because I don't want to get sucked into that algorithm void, that mind numb on TikTok. It's really good. The algorithm really sucks you in. So I just deleted the damn thing off my phone. And still, yeah, you're that guy from TikTok, man. I like what you're doing. Safe, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. Shout out to that brother. So I don't expect to get invited to these events. But if I were to be invited, if I was to be invited, I should say, I would not mince my words. And in fact, let's just imagine, just play along with me now, guys. Okay, let's just imagine Mahdi's been invited to one of these marriage events. At this marriage event, there's a whole bunch of sisters in their early, mid, and late 30s, unmarried, never been married before, Muslim women. Imagine now, and I'm at this event, yeah? Do you know what I would tell them? Sisters, the reason why you find yourself in this situation today is because of you. Maybe one or two of you have a genuine, a legitimate reason. Something happened. I was kidnapped. I can't even think of the scenario, to be honest with you. Something happened, Yani, and it was impossible for you to get married. Maybe there's a couple of you like that. All right. The problem with me saying that is every woman who just heard me say that thinks she's that woman. Every one of you who heard me just say that think you are that woman, and you are not. You're not. It's not you. You think it's you, but it's not. That's why I don't like making these caveats and these exceptions to the rule, because everyone thinks, yeah, that's me. No, it's not you. But I would tell them, you are in this situation because of you. You believed you deserved, there you go, more than what you actually did. And I would say you were lied to. This we have to say, Yani, we can't deny this. Sisters were lied to. Women were lied to. If you get your education, you're going to be able to increase the chances of you getting a great husband, blah, blah, blah. And this is simply not true. One of the first videos I put on my second TikTok account, by the way, I'm on my 7th TikTok account. All right, on my 7th account. But on my second TikTok account, I can't find this video. I was looking for it today. Can't find it. It was a clip from one of Jordan Peterson's podcasts. And he says, and I quote, the more educated a woman becomes, the less likely it is she will ever marry. Let that marinate for a second. The more educated a woman becomes, the less likely it is she will ever marry. You might be thinking, Mahdi, how? How is this possible? How? What's the relationship? What's the correlation between a woman's education and her getting married? And how on earth does it decrease her chances of getting married? I'll explain to you. Because women are hypergamous. Women marry across and up dominance hierarchies. Women do not marry men who are less than themselves. Women don't, by and large, right? Women, generally speaking, don't marry men shorter than them. Women, generally speaking, don't marry men dumber than them. Women, generally speaking, don't marry men that she can bench press more than him. She bench presses 30 kilos and she's going to marry a dude who bench presses 15 kilos. You get the point. You get the gist. Equally, women have an aversion, an allergic reaction to marrying a man who is less educated than herself, who is not as career accomplished as herself. She has a natural aversion to it. Okay, fine. Well, the more educated you become, the higher up the totem pole you climb, the less men you will find up there to choose from. Now I can immediately hear the women saying, well, men need to try harder. No, we don't. No, we don't need to try harder. What the point you're missing is that those men who do try harder and climb the totem pole with you, once they get there, they're not interested in you. Or at a minimum, they are less interested in you. Because he's looking at, men are not hypergamous. We marry across and down dominance hierarchies. We might marry someone similar to us, and we might marry someone who is less accomplished than us. It's all the same. Probably as well, he will marry someone less accomplished than himself. And let me explain to you why. Question: do men feel insecure by the idea of his woman, his wife, out earning him? Yes or no? In the chat. What do you think? And I use the word insecure on purpose because it's a triggering word. It's a word that men in particular will try to. In fact, I saw, shout out to MTR, by the way, mediocre tutorials and reviews. He had a podcast with Just Pearly thing. Shout out to both of them. And he mentioned that there are a cohort of men, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, who feel some type of way about, I can see the chat already. Yes, definitely 100%. Absolutely. Yes. Okay, good. Chat, you're on point today. You're on your game today. I see it. I see you. I'm about to explain to you why. And what I'm about to share with you, to those of you in the chat, okay, you can take away. So when women try to shame you on this, you can immediately use this line. You don't need to tell them where you got it from. You can just take this line from me right now. And when you spit these bars, bruv, they're going to think, yo, I'm smart. I'm not going to lie. You don't need to give the source. Don't worry about that. I've got you, boys. And MTR mentioned that there are a cohort of men who feel some type of way dating a woman, he used the word dating, who earns more than him. And he didn't, I don't think he was quite able to articulate into words as to why this is. And he mentioned it's just a small cohort. Let me tell you something, yeah? Any man worth his salt, generally speaking, it doesn't want to take on a woman who's earning as much as him. And I'll explain to you why. It comes from his masculine pride. A man who's worth his salt, a decent, respectable man, he wants to give. Do you understand this? Please get this through your thick skulls, all right? To these sisters who insist on shaming men for this. Get this through your thick skull. The reason why men want to marry women who are not as high up the career ladder or the business ladder or the earnings ladder as he is because he wants to give to you, and he wants what he gives to you to be valued, to be appreciated, to be thanked for it. Because there's a big difference. And you might tell me, oh, it doesn't matter if I earn more than him. He still has to provide for me anyway. So, what's the problem? Yes, you're right. But there's a big difference in giving to someone who genuinely needs it and by extension appreciates it, and to someone who doesn't need it, and by extension their appreciation will be limited. He sweated all day long, blood, sweat, and tears. His 9 to 5 job, whether it's cleaning the trash, whether it's plumbing the plumbing, whether it's whatever, electrician. Shout out to my Sparkies, plumbers, software guys, whoever. He worked hard, and he wants to give to you. But then when he gives to you, he knows in the back of his mind, you don't even need it anyway. That hurts a man's pride. He wants to give to you and he wants it to be appreciated. And he is robbed of this opportunity because you don't need it. So to answer your question, does it make men feel some type of way marrying women who earn as much as them? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I want my broke girls. Why? So that I can give her and she can appreciate it. So that I can give her and she can appreciate it. It's beautiful. Because men by nature are givers. Even in an intimate sense, physically, when you're doing the act with your wife, who's giving, bruv? You are giving to her. And she is what? The receiver. Even in an intimate sense, men are the givers and women are the receivers. Even intimately. All right. Couple of videos to go through before I open up the lines. So let's do this real quick. First one here. Videos to go through. Not this one. Not this one. This is the chat. I've got the link in the chat ready for you guys. I'll put that there later on, not now. All right, I'm gonna pull up a couple of my shorts, and then I'm going to pull up the comments from those shorts, because the comments are where the juice is, basically. Okay, so let's start here first. All right, you guys can see that, yeah? Let's change it to that view. Much.
China, if you're a woman, single and over. In China, if you're a woman, single and over 30, you are called 剩女, which means leftover woman in Mandarin. In Cantonese, you are called 籮底橙, 賣剩蔗, and 攝造啦, which means orange at the bottom of the basket, the sugar cane that didn't get sold, and the thing used for filling the gap of the stove. But if you're a man, single, and over 30, you are called 钻石王老五, which means a diamond bachelor in Mandarin. In Cantonese, you're called 笋盤, which means quality real estate. In China, if you're a woman, single.
Big man thing, yeah? What the hell was she referring to? That thing used to fill the gap in the stove. Orange is left at the bottom of the basket. Mad violation. Listen, the Chinese might be wrong on a lot of things, yeah, but they are hella based on this one. They did not miss. They got the bullseye. And they're not like trying to be PC about it either. They're just like, boom, this is what you are. Orange at the bottom of the basket. The gap in between the stove. I don't even know what it means, but that sounds hella funny. That is mad violation. Don't even understand the joke, but it sounds really bad. Gap in the middle of the stove. What's the point of me showing you this video, this first video? The point of me showing you this first video is that it is not exclusive to Muslims or to cultural people or to quote unquote backwards people to have an affinity and an innate attraction towards younger women. This is a basic human biological instinct, and any woman who and by the way, the only women who deny this are older women. You will never once catch a girl in her teens or 20s, early 20s, try to tell you, no, men desire older women. They don't desire us as much. Did you ever hear that? Billahi, tell me. No, you never heard that in your life. Did you hear that? You only hear it from women when they get older, which is natural because she's starting to feel some type of way about it, and denying it is easier than accepting it and trying to make do with whatever she has, right? Okay, let's pull up the next one. Cross that off. So many tabs, man. It's confusing sometimes. Okay, bismillah. All right, let's go here first.
If you are comfortable with this, you are. Sisters, please hear me loud and clear. You are in your prime when you hit 18, 19. That's your absolute peak where you can command the highest bidder, the highest price, if you like. After the prime is the decline. Like it or lump it. So if you are 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27-year-old sister, you need to be a bit more realistic as to what type of caliber of brother you are able to command, because you are on a timer. All right, you want to go university? Fine, go university. But just understand the trade that you're making. Choosing your career over marriage as a priority, that's okay. You do you. I'm not telling you to not do it. Do you. Carry on. But understand you're making a choice. And that choice is you are trading your prime years for your education. You must understand this. If you are comfortable with this, you are happy with this, you are okay with this, no problem. Sisters.
Spitting, bruv. First of all, shout out to my hairline. Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to my hairline, bruv, because my hairline was moving mad in this video. Let's make this bigger. How do we make this bigger? Give me the bigger version. Can you see that? Oof, I would have been there. Look how long my hair is as well, and it's still hairline was moving crazy. And now, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, my hairline's, look, my hair is way shorter, and it's still, by the way, there's still like a little patch here that I have to just quickly finesse over so you guys don't notice and you don't violate me. Never mind, I won't let you violate me today. There you go. There you go. There's the old landing strip. That's what people call it, landing strip. And cover that over again real quick. You didn't see nothing. Yeah, I might have to edit this out afterwards. I'm joking. It's all right. I don't mind you violating me. It's okay. It's what it is. But real quick, for those of you guys who might be wondering, how did I manage to recover a lot of the hair that was lost? So I can't say for sure. Well, I'm 99.99% this is the case. I did not take any hair growth supplements. I didn't take anything, other than one thing. When I got back with my diet coach after Ramadan, he gave me a list of supplements to take. I'll tell you them. So vitamin C, vitamin D3, vitamin E, calcium, magnesium, zinc. What have I missed? Vitamin B12. and a green powder drink, nasty ass drink that I got to have first thing in the morning. And I believe I was suffering from a vitamin deficiency because just a few weeks into taking those vitamins, my hair started growing back straight away. And if you type online, by the way, reasons for hair loss, one of the first things that will come up is vitamin deficiency. Now, I didn't get a test to see if I was deficient in any vitamins, so I can't tell you unequivocally. However, it seems logical. My hair was falling out for a good year, solid year. I start taking these vitamins post Ramadan. It wasn't for my hair, it was for my general performance, just to supplement my performance in the gym. And my hair starts growing back. So for those of you men who are suffering from a bit of hair loss, get your blood tested. You might have a vitamin deficiency, and rewind this video and just take all the supplements that I just said. All right. If you want exact dosages and all of that, I can't be asked to give you that right now. It's all long, bruv. Shout out to my guy Ahmed Shira. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Habibi. Muslim skeptic had a debate with a Muslim sister about whether or not women should get a degree. Yeah, I think I remember that one. I think it was that about last year. I think I remember that. Yeah, Daniel Haqiqa Jew is destroying, slaying people left, right, and center, to be honest. He's on his job, mashallah. Before we continue, by the way, let me just see this. We have 247 of you in here, and we're not even at 50% likes. We have 100 likes. That's I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. We need to get this to a minimum of 50%, and forget that 60%. So you're going to see me staring at the screen right now, just looking at you until we get those likes up. So get the likes up. And when you've liked the video, put it in the comments, say like the video or say something, and I'll pull your comment up on the screen. Because we're taking a pause right now. Shout out to Blackbeard. Shout out to you, my man. Blackbeard, thank you for liking the video. Like the video. Get the likes up. My man. Adam Siddiq. I like the ting. Love Mahdi. Yes, my guy. Appreciate you, Akhi. Abdurrahman Farah. Appreciate you, my man. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for liking the video. My parents. Oh my God. Who is this guy? Where is he? Oh, the chat's moving too fast. My parents can't see. I like the Mahdi Tijani video, brother. We're going to have to open up. Are you watching on the TV? Maybe he's watching on the TV. No, you can't do your boy dirty like that, bro. Dislike it then. Dislike it. It's all right. Dislike it. I don't mind. And then if your parents pull you up on it, be like, no, that guy's waffling. I was just disliking it. All right, let's see how many likes we got in here right now. 140. Sorry, 249 of you in here, and we have 154 likes. Okay. Well, 50% is 125. 60% therefore will be 150. That's at 60%. All right, we're good. Let's carry on. So, this video here that I just played you, if you choose to prioritize your education system over getting married, no problem, but you're making a choice. Now, to be honest with you, university is actually a great place for meeting brothers to get married. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but when I was at uni, we're talking around 10 years ago now, you know, they had the Islamic Society and brothers and sisters were getting married left and right, to be honest. It's a great place to get married because you're constantly meeting men, Muslim men. You're constantly in their vicinity and meeting them. So, my man said he punched the like. Shout out to you, my guy. Zach back 99. Appreciate it. So if you're still out here and you didn't get married, it's probably because, it's not probably because, it's definitely because you believed you deserved more than what you qualified for. Let's have a look at some of the comments in here, all right? Because as you can imagine, this is sisters be getting triggered. But we're going to break down some of their comments. All right. Jessica Agostini says, personally, I'm a revert to Islam. I got married at 18. You guys can see that, right? No, you can't really. Let me see. Change the view for you. That's better. You can see that, isn't it? I'm a revert to Islam. I got married at 18 and I reverted to Islam after being introduced to it from my husband. But the problem is that because I was new to Islam, I didn't know the traits to look for in a husband. Okay, fine. Now I'm 24 and divorced with 3 kids. Please be careful in spreading such general advice because everyone's experiences are different. Right. So what I would say to you, Jessica, and the way to counter this comment here, which is a fair comment, and I would say to you is that In the process of getting married, you need a wali. If you're a revert, it means most probably if you don't have any Muslim family members, then you're going to need to have a wali installed in his place. And it is his job to vet out properly. And you still have to take accountability here. If you chose the brother of your own accord without any help from a wali, and you just took this guy to the wali afterwards and put him in a catch-22, and that catch-22 is either he marries you or you commit zina, but he wasn't involved in the vetting process, then yes, you are going to have problems. So if you are a new Muslim, a sister, just embraced Islam, please involve your wali. Because whilst it won't provide 100% guarantee against a failed experience in marriage, it will definitely increase your chances of being in a successful marriage. All right. Here we go. Diana says, maturity is important. I was definitely not mature enough to be a wife at 18. This is such a common comment. And the mistake that women make is superimposing what they look for in a man, maturity, thinking this is what we look for in a woman. First of all, an 18-year-old woman has the maturity of around a 28-year-old man. We're about 10 years apart. A woman's brain fully develops at around the age of 20, and a man's brain, the actual growth of his brain, fully develops at around the age of 30. So the mistake you are making is thinking that we are looking for the same thing. No, we are not looking for the same thing. You're looking for a man who's established and mature and so on. We want a woman who's mature enough to be nice to me. She can cook nice food. She's respectful. She's agreeable. That doesn't take much maturity. That don't take much. She's a responsible adult. Khalas, that's it. That's enough. So once again, superimposing what you look for in a man on what we look for in a woman. All right. Here we go. In fact, let's read this first. Love Jones. Not everyone wants a child bride. The shaming. Because an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old woman is a child. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. The Prophet, actually, you know what? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, first wife Khadija radiallahu anha was 40 when they got married. So everyone should just marry an older woman then. Yes, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also married younger women as well. He married Khadija radiallahu anha, and he married Aisha radiallahu anha, and many other of his wives who were younger than him. Juwayriya radiallahu anha as well, young and beautiful. So don't try and take it out. Whilst it's okay to marry an older woman if you so pleased, if you so want to, whatever. Generally speaking, this is the exception, not the rule, or the exception to the rule. So if being an older woman means I have to settle or sacrifice, as you say, for a lower caliber of a man, I'm perfectly willing to take a caliber of man like the Prophet ﷺ. In fact, please Allah, bless me with a man even half that caliber. That, my friend, Love Jones, is why you are single. Because you are looking for a man who either doesn't exist or is so rare that the chances of you marrying him in the first place are slim to none. You're just basic bushra. Yeah? Basic bushra. Basic Bushra, first of all, shout out to Basic Bushra. Welcome to the stream, Basic Bushra. This is my inauguration of you on the stream. We welcome you with a big fat slap. And another one. Basic Bushra should marry average Abdullah. This is who Basic Bushra is entitled to marry. But no, Basic Bushra wants exceptional Ilyas. The problem is exceptional Ilyas has too many options to choose from. He has too many options to choose from. Basic Bushra needs to find an average Abdullah. But Basic Bushra believes she deserves more than that. And that's why Basic Bushra is out here in the comments of my videos complaining that men ain't ish. Because she believes she's not basic. Tragedy. This comment here, though, really struck me. All right, this one right here by Ramya, and it's actually I respect and appreciate comments like this, and they do make me sad. to be honest with you. I'm a 30-year-old woman who chose career over marriage. Until now, as I was brainwashed like this, I can't agree more with you. I need help, man. This is sad. This is sad. So, first of all, I'd say to Ramya, email me if you even see this video. She might have just seen this short, quickly commented and then moved on. Who knows? But if you see this, email me, okay? Because still, at this age, there is still an action plan for you that you can take. All hope is not lost, by the way, to the sisters in their 30s who are not married. The options I will present you with, you might not like, but they are still options nonetheless, and options that you qualify for and that you should seriously consider. Just because your life didn't pan out and play out the way that you wanted it to doesn't mean it still can't play out in a way that will be pleasing to you. Chose career over marriage because she was brainwashed. It's true. And it's sad. And, you know, I don't know what to tell you, man. Already, I just saw a video earlier. Let's see if I've got it on my page here somewhere. No, I don't have it. Yeah, I do. I can actually share this with you here. I'm not going to play the video because I don't know if I'll get a strike or whatever, because it's one of Jordan Peterson's, but I'll pull it up anyway. Let me see here. Here we go. Look at this here. This is on Chris Williamson's podcast. More than 50% of women are childless at 30. Just read that one more time. More than 50% of women are childless at 30. Childless. More than half of women. As Muslims, that would translate to more than 50% of women are not married at 30. Now, that might be a bit of a jump, a bit of a stretch. I don't know what the exact stats are on that, on marriage specifically. But for sure, more than 50% of women not childless at 30, generally speaking, that means she's not in a relationship. She's not in a relationship, or she's in casual relationships. And I'm trying to make this specific to the Muslim community, because we don't do casual dating, although some of you guys do. But I'm going to turn a blind eye and pretend it doesn't happen. Yeah, so we don't do it. All right, I'm safe. We shouldn't do it. Put it that way. All right, let me pull up the final video before I open up this chat. Open up the lines for you guys to call in. Right, first, where is this? Get rid of this one. Get rid of that. All right. Here we go.
Success, whatever your career success, it does not. Sisters, please understand, your education, your degree, your financial success, whatever your career success, it does not enhance your ability to find yourself a husband. If anything, it's a hindrance. It gets in the way of yourself, firstly and foremost, because your expectations now rise as your sexual market value is declining. So it gets in your own way, but it can also get in the way of a man as well. He starts to wonder, is this woman going to be a headache? Am I going to have to fight her on everything? She's going to be working full time. He's going to cook the food. Are we going to be negotiating the dishes and the food? Am I have to cook half the week? It gets in the way. Sisters, please understand.
It gets in the way. It does get in the way. Now, I can hear straight away, because the sister's saying, in fact, you know what? There might even be some comments here. Let's pull up the comments. It might be in the comments. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Perfect. The first comment. Let me change this. Change this look. So the first comment says, people like this gonna say stuff like this and then demand a female doctor if their wife is sick. Laugh my ass off. Okay. Funny. You thought you were funny, bro. You thought you got me, innit? You thought you got me, big man, yeah? You thought you got me. I bet. You thought you got me, bruv. You thought you was like, you know what? I just slapped Matthew with some facts. No. I'm gonna counter slap you. You ready for the counter slap? In fact, it's a counter slap with a counter hook. I remember sitting in on a lecture once, and the sheikh, he was asked, he said, Sheikh, you say that working in the money exchange business, which is whereby you have different currencies and you charge a small premium for changing people's currencies over. You say that it's haram, a form of riba, right? But if nobody did this business, if nobody did the business of changing money for us, okay, we wouldn't. How would we change our money when we go to different countries? How would we do this? And his answer was, it stuck with me to this day. And I heard this of 10, 12 years ago. He said, don't worry. There will always be someone willing to burn their hand for you. Hard, bruv. There will always be someone willing to burn their hand for you. You see, here's the situation right now. The marriage situation right now with women in general, but let's talk about the Muslim community now, seeing as, you know, we're dealing more specifically with the Muslim community, is like a freight train that is traveling at 1,000,000 miles per hour and the brakes have broken. And there's not much track left until we get to the edge of the cliff, the end of the world, and the train falls off into the abyss. There's not much track left. We need to find a way to break the train, to slow the train down. In this instance, that would be the freight train is all of these girls who are in education, who are pursuing their careers as a priority over marriage. And as a result of that, the freight train to doom, to falling off the edge of the earth is imminent. And the only way we can prevent it is by spreading this type of information and education to encourage sisters to prioritize marriage first. If you want to get an continue education afterwards, more power to you. But to prioritize education over marriage, no, that's a big mistake. So we need to get people off this train and find a way to jam the brakes. We need to find a way to wake sisters up in prioritizing marriage over their education. Even if that means she doesn't get an education in the end. Even if it means that. So be it. Because it's much better to be uneducated with your children than to be educated with your cat. Take my word for it. If you had to choose between those two, better to have no education with your kids than your degree and your cat sitting on top of your degree paper, which is the fate for many of you women in the very near future. So we have to find a way to get these girls off the train and jam the brakes before the freight train collapses. And whilst we're jamming these brakes, whilst we're jamming them, the train is still traveling so fast that the difference is going to be negligible. It's going to be negligible. There are so many women in these professions. There are so many women, nurses, midwives, or whatever the case may be, that it's not for any lack. We don't lack any of them. There's so many that you prioritizing marriage over becoming a social worker or a teacher or a nurse or a midwife or a doctor or whatever, it's not going to make the blindest bit of difference. Because we've got them. They are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. We need to slow the train down. Once we've slowed the train down to a speed that we can control, then maybe we can come back to this discussion in the future. Right now, the train is out of control and it's about to fly off the edge of the cliff. That's the situation. You thought you had me, rude boy, but you didn't. Can't have me like that, bruv. Get me. Okay, right. So, what we're going to do right now, 58 minutes in, pretty long monologue to be fair. If you have a look at the chat, okay, Control A. I have put in the chat the link to join me and what I will do to call in. And what I will do is I will pin this message. So the message is now pinned. The StreamYard link to call in is pinned. If you have a disagreement, if you want to challenge me on anything that I have said, you're welcome on to do so. Sisters, do you disagree? 25% of my audience are women. 25% of you women who watch me are women. If you believe I have said something wrong, if you believe I am corrupting the youth, yeah, you believe I'm corrupting the youth, then come on and challenge me. Come on and educate me if that's what you feel I need. I need an education. I'm corrupt. I'm misleading, misdirecting the people. Okay, fine. Come on the chat. Come on the call in. Tell me Let's see. What are you guys saying? There's an error on the link. Okay, all right, let's try this again then. This is what you told me because I was about to go into an intermission. So let's do this. Right, bear with me 1 second, guys. Invite. So I'm trying this slightly differently today. I'm switching between StreamYard and the actual YouTube chat as well. So let's stick that in there. All right. I have put the link in again. Replace pinned message. Try that. Try that and let me know if it works whilst I read off this super chat real quick, okay? Shout out to you, Daniel, my man. Appreciate you. Let me pull this super chat up real quick. Shout out to you, Habibi.
Oh, give the man a bloody medal.
Give the man a bloody medal. Shout out to you, Daniel. Supporting my brother Mahdi and helping brothers and sisters to get married early. Barakallah fik. I appreciate you, akhi. Jazakallah kulli khair. All right, guys. And by the way, actually, no, I don't want to just, I don't want to gloss over that. I really appreciate, by the way, your super chats. I have to tell you, because I was watching someone else's stream the other day, and I give super chats as well to different streamers. And it's nice when they acknowledge your presence on the stream. It does feel good. It feels nice, like, you know, it's like my guy acknowledged me. So I want you to know, Daniel, I appreciate you, especially you guys who don't even have a question to ask. You just want to just support the channel. I appreciate that. Barakallah fik. Okay, so the link is in the chat, the top pinned comment. You are welcome to come in. Are you still telling me it's not working? Flip stakes. Here, khalas. I put it in the StreamYard thing instead. So if the top pinned comment is not working, then use the link that I have just put in the main chat just now. Switch between the two. All right. For now, though, we are going to do this. And we are back. That intermission is very useful for me because I'm able to relieve myself, alhamdulillah. All right. Got a big super chat here to pull up. Let me just scroll up and find it real quick. Shout out to my man Bilal. Shout out to you.
Oh, give the man a bloody medal!
Give the man a bloody medal. Shout out to you, my man Bilal. Jazakallah khairan. My man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, my brother. And not even asking a question as well, just supporting the channel. Barakallah fiqh, Habibi. Really appreciate you. Bilal Sha'ban. Beautiful name as well, Bilal. Thank you very much for the 99.99 super chat, my man. I appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum, Habibi. Keep dropping them gems. Yes, sir. All right. So, sisters, you disagree? Well, tell me why you disagree. The link is in the top pinned comment. If that doesn't work, I just put it back in the chat again just now. Okay, Aya, sister Aya, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're up.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Does this work?
This works. Your sound is good. How are you doing, sister?
Okay, alhamdulillah. It's
Which
my first
part of
time.
the
So,
It's your first
Sorry.
time. Which part of the world are you calling from today?
I'm calling from England, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, why? Unfortunately, why?
Cost of living crisis.
Cost of living crisis. I hear that, man. Flipping is wild out there. It's absolutely insane. Average shop used to cost me 90 quid. Weekly shop,
Oh.
not too long ago. Now it's costing me 150 quid. I'm
Oh
getting
my
the same
God.
stuff. I'm getting the same stuff. I'm like, well, why is it costing 150 quid?
No, it's actually insane. Like, I hear white people talking about the cost of Freddos all the time, and I understand.
White people, that must be the white in me because I talk about the cost of Freddos as well. Anyway, Sister Aya, what you got for us? Tfaddali, bismillah.
Bismillah. I want to preface this by saying that I actually agree with most of your content, and I've been showing it to my siblings and my friends. I used to be like very, unfortunately, astaghfirullah, very into feminism, and alhamdulillah, I've done a complete 180. So I really appreciate what you're trying to do in kind of like changing the space on this. However, obviously, this is about disagreeing. So I apologize for like bringing up things about disagreements first. But so the kind of, I was watching some of your videos. The issue I kind of had was when you brought up the apex fallacy.
Oof. Dropping them techie words on me. Go on to apex fallacy.
I got it from you. I learned it from you. But the issue there is like you kind of use that argument against people that bring up the examples of Khadija radhiyallahu anha and kind of the majority of the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen that were kind of like older. But the difference between, let's say, how the Rasulullah married nine, and then he had up to 11, and Muslim men can't do that, is that in that example there is a clear prohibition for Muslim men to marry more than 4. So in that example, you can't wouldn't say that was a sunnah because it goes against the clear prohibition for Muslims in general. However, in the rest of the things that the Rasulullah did, it's never something that we can say is blameworthy or kind of like preach in general against people doing. I completely like agree with the fact that most men are going to have preferences for women that are younger, but when it comes to kind of like the decision of marriage, there are so many factors that go into that. Number one being deen and character, and if we kind of tell people to compromise, if we tell people not to compromise in one thing, like the age thing, then you're going to have a compromise in something else, which will often be the deen and the character and the kind of like, the chemistry or the and loads of other things. I do agree, and even the scholars say that, of course, if a woman is like...
So which part are you disagreeing on exactly?
sorry. So I'm disagreeing
First of all, how old are you, Sister Aya?
I'm 23.
You're 23, and I'm assuming you're not married.
No, I'm not married. And I promise I'm coming at this purely from an Islamic standpoint, not from an emotional argument.
What's your ethnic background, roughly? Which part of the world are you from?
I'm Arab.
Okay, North African or Middle Eastern?
North African.
Okay, fine. Go on, carry on.
So, sorry. So I was pasting in the chat the fatwa from Sheikh Ibn Baz, from the Dawah Islamiyya, where he says age should not be a problem. What does matter is that the man should look for a righteous woman who is religiously committed, even if she's older than him, if she is still young enough to bear children. So I do really agree with what you're saying about how, women can become have geriatric pregnancies at age 35. Our eggs are going down, especially in this day and age. It happens much earlier, but up to that cutoff, kind of, let's say between the ages of 18, for legal purposes, 18 up to that time, there's no really Islamic mandate to kind of really emphasize that it's got to be 18, 19 and not 25 or 26.
I got you. All right, I'm going to ask you. First of all, let me just shout out this brother here. JD Trace, I appreciate the $5 super chat, my man. I laugh when brothers and sisters say the red pill is haram. I'm a black American raised as Christian, and the red pill led me to Islam. Shots fired, bruv. Shots fired. Shout out to you, Akhi. Barakallahu feek, and welcome to Islam, my brother. I don't know how long you've been Muslim. Best alhamdulillah. Okay, sister, look. I am not saying, I'm not denying this reality that you can marry an older sister if you want. No problem, it's absolutely fine. I'm just saying most men, their natural inclination is going to be towards a younger woman. Number one, for the obvious reason, because younger women just look better. Point blank, period. Even if a woman looks good for her age, I will repeat what I said earlier. Even if she looks good for her age, it's just not the same as when she's younger. It's just not the same. So you have the visual element, and then you have the other obvious thing, which is, okay, let's say maybe she is still able to bear children at 35. You marry her at 35. She's never been married before. And alhamdulillah, she's able to bear a kid. But how many, Aya? One? Maybe? Maybe it will take a couple of years to get that one as well, especially as you rightly pointed out, that we live in a day and age where both men and women's fertility is on a massive decline, both of us. So if by some miracle she's able to conceive, okay, alhamdulillah, maybe it might take a couple of years, but she finally managed to conceive. How many? One? Two? It's dead.
I definitely see what you're saying 100%. But I think sorry, I know everyone says discount everything that's said before but, and only after but counts. So, but
everything before but is BS. But go on.
Okay, fine. But so obviously fertility and provision of children, all of these are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whoever has taqwa of Allah, Allah provides for him in ways they cannot imagine, which includes a marriage that's loving and has all the correct intersexual dynamics and children. So if we just follow the framework that the Rasul taught us about how to look for a spouse and what to prioritize, which I'm not, and one of those things is that she is fertile, so she's not kind of geriatric pregnancy, menopausal. But after that, the kind of framework of prioritization is very different to what is sometimes kind of said on this channel. And I think that if we follow the Rasul to the blindly, and obviously therefore following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands, then that is the best way for Allah to provide us all of the things we want, including that football team of children or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Whilst it is technically possible to have that football team of kids, as you just said, with a sister who's in her 30s, on a bounce of probabilities, and we have to be rational creatures here, on a bounce of probabilities, it's probably not going to happen. If you do marry a sister in her 30s and you actually want to have a full family with her, if you are able to get children from her, then most probably it will be one, maybe two. Any more than that, and she becomes an anomaly, straight anomaly. So whilst it is possible, and we put our faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all the rest of it, we must also tie our camel. We must also be rational thinkers, because otherwise, it's like, hopefully, inshallah, I'm going to get a first class in my degree, but I'm not going to do the extra work required because that's just all long. Well, then you're not going to get a first class in your degree. Is it possible? Yeah, I guess so. But is it probable? No, it's not.
That is true. However, would it be better to have a football team of children with a sister? And I know you'll probably say that it's I'm doing two extremes here, but with a sister who's less righteous, not on deen, and these things are actually, less obedient, less, will cause so much, all the different issues. And this thing isn't something that kind of comes for granted, especially in the West. But perhaps it would be better to even have, 4 or 5 children, which is still a respectable number, with a sister who is, who will make them proper kind of members of the ummah.
Go on.
And so I think that I'm not disagreeing with you.
Is it
I
better
think
to do that than what? What's the other side of the coin here?
Sorry, I did present. Sorry, I'm so nervous. I did present two sides. So it was like, is it better to compromise in the number of children not too much, but say you might not have 11, but you would have five with the sister.
Most people are not nuts like me. I'm the only nutter who wants 20 kids. Yeah, less than 0.1% of those who watch me want 20 kids like Mahdi. Yeah, most people are quite happy with 3 or 4, maybe 5. Yeah, unless you're shout to my Somali man, then by the way, the average seems to be 15 in the Somali community. Mashallah. Shout out to the Somali brothers and sisters.
So what I mean is, in the West, especially with like honesty, feminism is just so prevalent and so many other things. It's hard enough it's not impossible, and I don't agree with sisters that kind of try and do the whole doomsday scenario.
Hold on. Before you take that segue, let me just answer your question. Look, you used an example just now that isn't it better to get with a sister who is older and potentially more righteous and gives you less kids than a woman who will be younger and maybe give you more kids and she's less righteous? But who said the two need to be mutually exclusive? Who said because she is older she's going to be more righteous, and because she's younger she's likely to be less righteous? Who said that? Why are the two mutually exclusive? And I would actually say to you, if this is the choice, then I would agree. Yes, go with the older sister who is more righteous. If those are the only two women you have to choose from, then fine. Choose the one who is more righteous. I'm with you. But generally speaking, this is not the case. This is not
I definitely don't think it's a binary, but
there you go. A binary. That's the word I was looking for.
It's not a binary. And I do think, there's an allowance for preferences. And if men really feel like in order to enjoy their marriage, she needs to be much younger, that's completely fine and should not be demonized. However, for kind of men who are not like, I refuse to use the term high value, but men who, how do I put this, who are kind of, like you said, the Abdullah, whoever.
Average Abdullah.
I feel too hesitant to use the term, but yeah, exactly. They are probably better, like it's wiser to kind of go with the approach of looking for deen, character, obedience, gentleness, easygoingness, all of this, and then kind of keep your bracket of age a bit wider. I'm not saying 30s or like all the 30s, but I'm saying like 18 to.
Shall I be perfectly honest with you, Sister Aya? And this is my experience in dealing with the brothers. Yeah, in my experience in dealing with the brothers, is that honestly, average Abdullah, he's happy to take whatever's on offer, man. He's really not that fussy. Like this business of late teens, early 20s. Honestly, average Abdullah just wants to get married at this point. Average Abdullah is not even picky like that. He just wants to get married, and still he's getting turned down. Still he's getting turned away. I'm talking about average Abdullah right now, because the sisters en masse in general, as I mentioned earlier, they're more educated, and as a result of that, they are now still expecting someone who is more educated still, or doing better still, at least in their business or whatever, than themselves. And obviously that's a ever diminishing pool. The higher up the totem pole you go, the less options you have. It's just the way it goes. So I'll be honest with you, this whole business of younger sister, blah blah blah, average Abdullah doesn't care at this point. My guy just wants to get married to a woman who's going to be nice to him and maybe give him a couple of children, and he's happy. But he can't even find that. Even that, he's struggling.
Oh, that's surprising. But like, there's many people who are kind of watching this sort of content from yourselves and a few others who are now, like, lots of people who are starting to do a thing where they restrict so strictly, like she's got to be 18 to 20, that's it, and then all these other things. And I just feel genuinely just care and sadness for the rest of my, my fellow brothers and sisters. And I feel like,
how many brothers have asked for your hand in marriage? You specifically, Aya.
I don't want to. I don't. I feel really sorry. I don't.
Is it more? Is it more or less than 10?
I'm sorry.
It's more than 10. It's more than 10. Is it more or less than 15?
It's alhamdulillah. It's not been. I'm not coming at this from like Like, I've been fine, but like I'm just
It's
coming
more
at
than
this from a more
15.
Islamic standpoint.
Is it more or less than 20 brothers who have expressed interest in marrying you?
I honestly I couldn't say, because a lot of them went to my dad, and my dad like didn't tell me about all of them, as he told
All
me.
right, so it's more than 20 brothers have expressed interest in you. How many more we don't know, but it's more than 20. But as it stands, Sister Aya is still not married, which means that these brothers didn't quite measure up for what reason? What's the reason?
So there's I'm not raised awareness about this issue. Alhamdulillah, I mean, I love my parents, but unfortunately, they want me to become kind of like a career woman and finish so they sort of banned me. I'm kind of seeking advice about it. Alhamdulillah.
They've banned you from getting married.
Yeah, because they think I should fulfill the fard kifaya of being a female doctor and being a doctor.
This is a confusion of the highest order. What is going on?
There's loads of us, like literally so many Muslims in my university. Muslim sisters have the same issue.
You should find who said fard kifaya, by the way. Who said this?
Scholars, to be fair, we do need, and it's funny because
I know we need them, and we seem to have them in abundance, mashallah. So
I know, and then feminists will use the argument of like, oh, you know, we need women need to go to uni because they need to be doctors, and I'm like, but the problem is this argument is now being used to kind of like really harm a lot of Muslim women, and many of us make these like decisions when we're 16, 17, when we're much more influenced by feminism stuff, and then we get through uni and we realize.
What's your degree in? What have you graduated in?
I've not graduated yet. I'm doing medicine.
Oh wow! So you're gonna become a doctor, right? Okay, fine enough. Well, okay.
I actually don't want to. I don't want to work as a doctor. Are
you in your third year?
In my fourth year.
Fourth year, right? So you're nearly done. So, the first of all, sister, I'm gonna say to you this, yeah, is that you're still kind of in your prime-ish, but like that train is sailing. Yeah, that train is sailing. Now, I'll tell you something that I said to a member of my family when that individual was 23. She was 23 years old, and my family actually, they took me to the cleaners for it. Yeah, I said this is many years ago, but I still stand by. I stand on that square of what I said all of those years ago. And I said to this individual, my extended family, she was 23 at the time. I said to her, sister, you are expiring. And you need to get married quickly, because by the time you hit 25, it's a wrap. Everyone knows this in the Muslim community. By the time you hit 25, it's a different story. It's not 30. It's not 30. In the Muslim community, there's something with the number 25. It's a wrap. So you are expiring, yani. Yellow sticker, reduced sticker, Tesco, cost of living crisis, take this.
But Mahdi, where's the Islamic basis for this? That's my problem. Like, especially when I'm said that
it's just like a badihi. Not all things have to be explained, yani, with an Islamic text. It's something natural, something like a natural feeling. It's just a natural feeling.
Islam is about putting Islam above natural feelings in many, like, not about submission to Allah.
Right, and part of the Islamic advice, and Prophet advised one of his companions, why didn't you marry a younger woman? So
I was hoping you'd bring that one up.
Right. So, but
the second half of that.
Go on.
This is how a sheikh, I think his name is Ibn Jibril, described this hadith as well. But actually, so when he asked him, why didn't you marry a virgin girl? He explained he had orphan sisters who needed a wife to help him.
Yep.
He wasn't told, because if the Rasul, he spoke truth. If he wanted to recommend that above a previous marriage, he would have emphasized that. He would have said, you should have married a virgin first, then marry a previously married woman who can take care of sisters. Mm-hmm. But instead, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ immediately blessed him and said to him, may Allah bestow his blessing on you.
Correct. And you know why that is, right?
In the sense of because he had orphan sisters.
Exactly. For his specific situation, this was a smart move, because an older woman is more experienced in the realm of dealing with children and so on. She is more likely to be able to take on this responsibility and burden. It's a burden of taking on 4 girls, younger girls that she has no relationship to. So for him, this was the correct advice.
But you've interpreted to say this is now a recommendation explicitly to marry virgins.
The default response from the Prophet was, why didn't you marry a young woman? Why are you fighting it, sister? You know that
it's not because it's not correct. Your interpretation goes against the scholars
It's not my
you can-
interpretation. You know that men have a natural inclination towards younger women, because otherwise, what are you saying? That men should have a natural inclination towards older women?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not disputing that, and I'm saying that it's not the only. For example, beauty, right? Men have a natural inclination towards more beautiful women. The Rasul said, "Marry the woman is married for 4 things, one of which is beauty." But then he said, "Marry the religious woman, or you'll have lost out massively." So men have natural inclinations. It doesn't mean that in a marriage that your natural inclination towards someone younger should be your primary factor. That's why I'm saying.
No,
what we
want
the brothers who are listening to.
Hold on. What we want is the younger woman who is beautiful and is righteous. And generally speaking, and we're not looking for no scholars or anything like this. Generally speaking, the other thing with younger sisters is that you will find they tend to be more agreeable. They tend to be more agreeable. They're easier to lead. Even companies and organizations know that. I've given a story in the past that before I hit 25, my dad said to me, "Mahdi, why don't you consider signing up with British Airways to become a pilot?" I was like, well, where did that come from? Pilot? What? And he said to me, "Well, the cutoff is 25. They don't take on new pilots after 25." So even certain companies and organizations know that it's easier to teach and channel a new recruit when they are younger than when they are older. It's just easier.
Definitely.
So
It's
as
true.
a man, when a man is in the position of leading and directing, he knows that a younger woman is going to be easier to lead than an older woman who carries her experience, which many women insist on the fallacy that her experience is an asset, when it's absolutely not. It's a massive hindrance. A woman's experience is a hindrance. It gets in the way. It gets in the way. Otherwise, these companies would have hired older people with all of their experience. They don't want experience. They want someone, a new recruit that they can easily lead and teach them with their ways, whatever the company ways.
This can happen when they're older, because my issue is
it can happen. It can happen when they're older.
Then be my
it's
issue
more
is
likely to happen when they're younger.
Would I be able to finish? I do genuinely hate interrupting, even though I'm doing it. But I just so the first thing I'll say is my motivation to peel back my layer, as it would be for this, is because I don't want to see brothers missing out because they're just on their preferences going first for age, when they could marry someone who's literally 2 years a bit older and have so much more in common with them, be able to get on with them better, have more deen, have more akhlaq. So I'm genuinely doing this because
hold on. So the default presumption here is that if she's older, he's more likely to have more in common with her. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not actually saying that. I'm saying that it could be so. But if you're going age first, if you don't compromise on one thing, you'll compromise in another. Do you see what I mean?
Just the ayah. It could be. I agree with you. I absolutely agree. It could be so, but it probably won't be. As she gets older and she accrues more experiences, especially if she's in the workplace or she's pursuing education, she becomes less agreeable. And by the way, this happens to men as well. As men get older, we also become less agreeable. A younger man is more open and starry-eyed. His eyes are wide and he's looking for a mentor to take him on and take him under his wing. It happens to men as well. And as we get older, we become more set in our ways. The key thing here is that because a man in a relationship sense is the one in the position of leading, it's important for him to be set in his ways to a degree so that he is able to lead. He can't be all starry-eyed when he's with his wife. He needs to be firm upon where he's taking this family. However, if he marries a woman who's the same as that, they're just going to be clashing constantly, fighting constantly. So whilst he could find this woman, to quote the words that you just used, the likelihood of him finding such a woman as she gets older diminishes with her age. It's just a part of the we're like clay. Men and women alike. We harden with age. We get harder.
And also
that's why British Airways didn't want to have anything. This is why British Airways didn't want to have anything to do with me after the age of 25. The clay got too hard.
No, as in you're right about the experiences. However, sometimes a younger woman.
I have to say, I'm very right.
No, okay. A younger woman may
One
go
second,
through.
one second. Hold that thought. But
Sorry,
shout out
also
to
I'm
Barry.
taking so much time. I'm really
No,
sorry.
no. Hold that thought. Shout out to Barry Lee. I just want to grab this before it disappears from the screen. Assalamu alaikum. The sister needs to worry about marriage first. The light at the end of the tunnel is fading. Otherwise, she will be single and unhappy. He's spitting, Aya.
I'm trying. I have circumstances that are difficult, but I am trying.
Well, I will say,
my parents are my gateway to paradise. You know, like you can't like, and my father means everything to me.
They are, but it doesn't mean that you can't find a diplomat. I don't want you to go against your family. That's not what I'm recommending. I want you to find a diplomatic way of doing both. You nearly finished your medicine degree, right? So you might as well just finish it. But you're in uni with brothers, I'm assuming, who are also studying medicine, are they not? And furthermore, I need to pull you up on something, first of all. We've just established that more than 20 brothers have expressed 20 brothers have expressed interest in you, Sister Aya, but none of them met the cut. Billahi, tell me why.
Well, no, I alhamdulillah, I have somebody potentially in mind, but it's more about like my family. That's it. I have like, you know, I'm pretty easygoing on this aspect, but it's just, yeah, my family that's the issue. May Allah bless them.
I'm assuming the brother's a doctor, like a doctor to be like yourself.
Yes.
You need to cop that. Do you know what percentage of men are doctors in the UK? Do you know what the percentage are? And I'm including all doctors. That means doctors who are not really doctors, but they got a PhD, right? Do you know what percentage are in the UK? Take a wild guess.
Very, very, very low.
Take a wild guess. I want you to guess.
I want to say 0.01%.
Not quite. 1.4%. Okay. But hold on. 1.4% of all men in the UK are doctors. Now, that includes the gay men. That includes the married men. That includes the bisexual men. That includes the old men. That includes all men. Which means actually from the pool of choice that you really have, it's actually a fraction of 1.4%. So if you are telling me, Sister Aya, that there is a brother who is also a doctor to be like yourself, and you are interested in him and he's interested in you, cop that. Cop it. Find a way to diplomatically, and the key word here is diplomacy. I don't want you to go against your family and lose your family. That's not what I'm saying. Find a way to diplomatically get them on board and cop that brother whilst you can.
Yeah, that's true. It's much harder to do. Like I've reached out to people to help, but subhanAllah, this is a big issue in the UK. So I appreciate you kind of letting me highlight that on the channel. Actually,
well, what
lots of sisters are going through it.
I want you to email me afterwards with your specific situation, okay? And I'll give you an answer, because a lot of people think that that's it. Well, yeah, a lot of people think that there is no choice. That khalas, yani, my parents said no. Listen, man, it's just negotiation. It's all sales, baby. It's all sales.
I've been trying for half a year, but I'm not. It's because I have too much. I know I'm disagreeing with you now, but like I genuinely, like, especially with my dad and stuff, like I find I'm just so shy about like being like, no, well, it's just really hard.
Okay, hold on a second. Here, brother Riyadh makes a shout out to you for £20 super chat. Brilliant. Potentially will lead to, unfortunately, in due course. Time is of the essence, Sister Aya. Absolutely right. Potentially will lead to, unfortunately. Right now, you're in a great situation right now. Let me tell you why. Okay, because you're not the sister who's calling me, who's 10 years down the line. She's 33 years old or whatever. Yeah, and now she is woe is me. You're actually still in your prime, relatively speaking. And you have a brother who is right there, ready to cop, who just so happens to be a doctor and ticks your hypergamous boxes. Let me tell you, Sister Aya, yeah, you only get one of these opportunities. They only come around once, and this brother, he's gonna be thanking me afterwards that I'm talking to you like this. These opportunities, they only come around once. You only win the lottery once. This is your lottery ticket. Bismillah.
Thank you. And to all the sisters watching, like, I do want to say, don't really, unless I don't know, I don't want to say a blanket rule, but in general, don't go to university. It's or medical school. It's just like the returns. There's just too much fitna. The follow the kifaya is great, but prioritize getting married and things like that. It's definitely something if I could turn back time.
Can you elaborate on that? Can you elaborate on that real quick? What do you mean? You
Yes,
mentioned
but can I ask if I could just give my motivation for why I came to disagree with some of the points? Would that be all
before.
right?
But yeah, you can do that afterwards. I just wanted to elaborate on
All
why
right,
you
okay.
said you don't recommend them to go and what the reason is. Tell me why.
Okay, so there's a lot of fitna involved.
Be
the free-
specific. Be specific.
Okay, so much free mixing.
Really.
And like alhamdulillah, I because of like the way I was raised, but even then, like it's the sort of the person you are when you're going in 16, 17, 18 is medicine is long. It's 6 years. And the amount of like, it's not even, people think it's the patient. It's not the patients. Like if you're just, treating or examining like a 90-plus-year-old man, it's really not that deep, but it's more the colleagues. It's more the interactions with people in your year, your teachers who are often like literally just 2 years older than you or the same age, like the kind of like so much like random like chat and things that goes on and things that's just normalized under the guise of, oh, we're just learning medicine. Like it's really, it's not that at all. Like the shaitan is just like, it comes at you from so many angles. And like, of course there is, the communal obligation for female doctors. I'm not denying that. However, that's currently, as you said, Mehdi, is currently being filled. And, there are options, like you can, get married and emotionally make yourself emotionally stable first. Take care of like having children and having that blessing of being loved and loving people in turn. And then you could maybe go to like a different country where you could train with like predominantly women. Like if you really want to do this for the ummah, there are ways that are just so much more halal and don't involve compromising the deen. It's things like the dress, like you have to wear scrubs, you have to like there's you get shouted out about your hijab, like, and it's just mostly like there's this kind of professionalism thing that gets put on as a doctor, which often involves us like feeling like we have to wear makeup and make jokes with like the guys, and or like just in the realms of, oh, it's just professionalism, but it's not. Like it's a way of shaitan getting in, and it's not worth it. Yeah, it's very different to obviously the female Sahaba, including Aisha radiallahu anha and many others. They were like in essence female doctors. They cared, but it's just so different. Like they often learned it with other women. Some learned it from their husbands. Like it's a completely different system to practicing medicine in the West. Which
That's a really good point. It was a different way of learning back then. It's a great point. It's a great point. Even Sister Sarah in the chat appreciates it. Sister Sarah says she's so honest and based. And that's a valid point that you raised. Before I bring on the next caller, there was one more thing you wanted to ask me. What was it? Disagree on or something like that?
It was just to say that like I worried, when you talk about the swinging pendulum. So I worry that there's loads of brothers now who are swinging the other direction, who are so strict on the like 18 to 20 front that they're gonna like. There's a lot of sisters who they might be better suited for, but they're just missing out on because they're being too extreme in one sense. So I guess
let me tell you something. Let me just shut down real quick, Sister Aya, because obviously I'm dealing with the brothers. Let me tell you something. Yeah, Average Abdullah online, he's waffling. In real life, in real life, believe me, he's happy to take whatever decent, respectable, good sister he can take, even if she's a little bit older. He's happy because you know why? Because he's alone and lonely and celibate, and he doesn't have many options in the first place because he's Average Abdullah. Trust me, he comes online to flex his internet muscles, but the truth of the matter is, honestly, in real life, he's quite happy to take just a woman that will be nice to him, that looks reasonable, that will be nice to him. She covers, she prays. Bismillah, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Don't worry about that.
Okay, right, that's it.
Yallah,
thank you for all of that time, by the way.
Remember what I said, sister. What you have right now is a lottery ticket. Cash that lottery ticket before the lottery ticket becomes invalid.
Yep.
Yallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you.
All right, I'm prioritizing those with cams, by the way. The link is the top pinned comment. If that one doesn't work, then I have just put it in. I've just put it in the chat just now. Let me pull this up real quick. Rare Mahdi L telling women to settle for average men. Huh? Bro, that doesn't make sense. Telling women to settle for average men. Sister, this sounds like a sister said it. Can I just tell you something? Bushra. Yeah? Because I know it was you, basic Bushra, who just put this comment in the chat. Okay? Telling women to settle for average men is because you're basic bushra. What are you talking about, woman? You're waffling. And again, other cheek. And the other. Talking nonsense, bruv. Munir, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Can't hear you, my bro. Can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, wa alaikum assalam,
Yes, what's going on, my man?
brother. So I have got I had an argument with a friend previously about like women working. So I'm obviously on your side, otherwise I wouldn't be watching you. But you brought up a very interesting point,
Go on.
which was that in the West,
Yeah.
currently we don't have a system that would provide for a woman if she gets divorced by her husband.
Hold on, let me just address this real quick. Guys, if you're gonna ask me a question, keep it clean, please. Yeah. Barakallah fin. How can I secure that prime? Keep it clean, brother. Yeah, we don't want no dirty things. But Jazakallah khair for a $5 super chat. Yeah, go on, Akhi. What's your question?
So, like in a non-Islamic system, when we have like when a wife gets divorced, she, like if she is not educated, she doesn't have the ability to earn money because we don't have like a system in which like she's provided for, like
All right.
maybe
So
there's some like money from the
which country are you talking about now? Which part of the world?
like Western countries, average Western countries.
Well,
There's
I'll say to you
obviously
this,
like
first and foremostly, by the way, education increases the likelihood of a woman getting a divorce. Did you know this? You are less
obviously, I know.
likely as a woman to divorce your husband if you don't have a university education. Okay, check this out: 70 to 80% of all divorces are in the West are initiated by women, except amongst one specific cohort, and that cohort is women with degrees, educated women, postgraduate women. They divorce their husbands at a rate of 90%. So to answer your question, you are more likely to get a divorce or to be divorced, which they're initiating, if you have an education than if you don't. And the reason why is very simple. Once again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. The more educated she becomes, the more she believes she deserves. And the more she thinks she has settled with an average guy, even though she's basic bushra herself. So to answer your question, okay, this is fear. This is fear mongering. What if she becomes divorced and so on? Yes, it is a possibility. It is a possibility, and that's a situation we will have to address. However, the situation we find right now and the reality on the ground is, number one, the educated women are the ones who are getting all the divorces at a rate of 90%. And number two, women en masse are single. By 2030, 45% of all prime-aged working women, that is women between the ages of 25 to 45, will be single and childless. Single and childless. This is because of their education. And we didn't really know that this would happen. We want to know this. By the way, I don't think families, dads, mums had this evil initiative and they wanted their daughters to suffer and to never get married. I don't believe this. They genuinely had their daughters' best interests at heart. But what we can see is that the more educated women are becoming, the less likely they are to get married in the first place. And if they do get married, the more likely they are to trigger a divorce. Are you following me?
Yeah, obviously. So I'm on your side, man, because I'm just asking this question because I had a discussion with a friend and also with a CEO Ukhti who like she said this argument to me actually, and I really didn't know what to answer because it kind of made sense. But
what you do is you clip this part of the video, you go away and just like take notes on it, and then you don't need to quote me. Don't tell her about me, yeah? And then she'll be like, yo, my man Munir sounds kind of intelligent, not gonna lie. That's what you need to do, bro. I've given you the answer.
Okay, man. I appreciate
All right,
you.
my man. All right, Jazakallah for coming in. I appreciate you, Akhi.
Wayak. Assalamu
Ya Allah,
alaikum.
assalamu alaikum. Listen, there's 273 of you in here. First of all, if you're enjoying the stream, like the video, barakallahu fikum. Second of all, 25% of my audience are sisters. If you disagree, get on the stream. I already saw in here some humbler or something like this. Some sister in here, her name is Humbler. Humbler, come onto the stream so that you can get humbled. I have some humbling slaps waiting for you. Yalla ta'ali, come onto the stream. Assalamu alaikum. Hey.
Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. What are you saying, akh?
I'm good, bro. How are you doing? First of all, I have a question. Are you going to be watching the boxing later? It's a bit off topic.
Who's playing? Who's fighting?
Yard versus Batavia.
Nah, it's not me, bro.
Okay, fair enough, bro. I thought obviously big man, and you're probably going to be watching it anyway.
Go on, yeah.
So,
What you got to add to the discussion, Ask?
So
Bismillah.
my question is: so I have a sister who is 27, and from the start of the conversation, probably
Hold on.
about
First of all, is
feminism.
this on topic? Is this on topic with regard to?
Yeah, it's on topic. So she's 27. She's a pharmacist, and probably been looking for about 5 years for a brother. And to be honest, where I live, I would say 99% of the brothers are dusty. So what would you do if you were in that situation looking for your daughter or sister?
What would I do? What?
Like, how would you find a good brother? How would you see if they're good enough, basically?
Okay. Well, yeah. First of all, my situation is kind of different because I'm linked in with. Not only do I have quite a good social media presence, and I'm actually linked in with quite a few, high-level gentlemen behind the scenes as well.
Okay,
So
if you were
for me,
just
it's
an
slightly
average.
different. But you're asking me for the regular dude, right?
Yeah.
So be more specific in your question. Then ask me again.
So the people where we live, I would say most of them, they've had relationships with girls. They go out, they smoke, they go partying and all of that stuff. So those are not the sort of people who you would want your sister to marry.
Okay. Well, definitely you wouldn't want your sister to marry that type of guy.
Yeah, and so those are basically, I would say 90% of the people where we live. That's what they like.
Okay, 90% of them. How do you know?
Because everybody between the ages of 25 and 30, like my cousins and stuff, we all have similar friends, so we kind of know all the bad people.
So you want to know where would I find a good practicing brother?
Yeah, I go to the mosque and stuff. So
bro, they're all in my DM. All right, where do you live, brother? Where do you live?
South Wales.
And you're looking for a brother for your sister? Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, preferably close to South Wales as possible, so no further than Birmingham.
Okay, all right, okay. Let's do this right now, brother. What's your email? Please tell me. What's your email?
So can I send it to you later? I don't want to tell anyone on the chat.
No. You're going to put the email here right now. Your email. No, nobody needs to know who you really are. It's just your email. But give us your email.
What email's got my name in there?
You haven't got enough, brother. Who cares, bro? Listen, this is your sister we're talking about.
Okay, let's go, bro. Email is Ahmad Ali, so AMADALI.
AMALI.
AMAD.
AMAD, yes.
ALI.
ALI.
Yeah, 786.
786.
At hotmail.
.co.uk. Right.
Yeah.
In the chat. Right, guys. Chat. Can you see that? I pulled this up on the screen. So Ahmad Ali, our brother Ahmad Ali, he's looking for a good practicing brother for his sister. Okay. They live in
not dusty. No dusty brothers, please.
No dusty brothers, Rude Boy.
Bro, you know what? Funny thing is, I heard you say that. I've been saying that for ages. I'm lying, yeah. So when I heard you, I was like, okay, someone else uses the language as well.
Shout out to that guy who, let me see, Zayd Al Farouk. Thank you for the 99 cents super chat, my man. I appreciate you, my man. Barakallah feek, jazakallah khair, akhi. Look, and let me put. Hold on. Where did it go? Let me put it back up. It's Ahmad Ali at hotmail.co.uk, right? Yeah, here we go. Sorry, 786.
Yeah.
Okay, so whilst we're on the topic, what are you looking for roughly in a brother? You said not dusty. Be more specific.
Yeah, so somebody who has a good income.
Hold on. First of all, ethnic background, is there a specific preference?
Not Bengali. Anything else is okay.
Why is that?
Just that's what my sister prefers.
Are you South Asian yourself?
Yes.
Are you Pakistani?
Yes.
I understand there's beef there, but you know what? I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. As a non-Pakistani, bruv. It's all the same, bruv. It's one country.
Bro. Honestly,
that split into three because of the because of the white man, bruv. You understand?
I've got Bengali friends, and all of the guys I know who are Bengali are fine, but it's just
Get out
sister
here, bro.
preference.
Get out here, bala khursin Get me, bruv.
Yeah, so somebody who's got a good income, like, can provide for my sister, because
Okay,
she's
hold on, brother. What's a good income now? You're sounding like these sisters that come on Fresh and Fit. What's a
All
good
right.
income, bro?
all right, around. Well, my sister, if she wanted to work full time, which she doesn't, she could probably be on like 50 herself because she's a pharmacist. So
Okay,
something
fine.
around there.
Around 50 grand.
Yeah, which I don't
that's
think is
not too unreasonable, to be fair.
yeah. That's not too unreasonable. That's what I'm saying. So around 50 grand. Praise at least 5 times a day, because there's nothing.
Brother,
that
we shouldn't even have to say that, Yani. If we have to say that, then we are really losers, to be honest.
Exactly. And that's it, really. I don't see what else there is to ask for.
If we were to ask your sister what she's looking for in a brother, I'm sure she'd have a few more requirements than that. What would she say?
Literally those things. So practicing, good enough income to support her, and preferably would have his own house if he can.
How old is she again, did you say? Roughly mid-20s?
27.
27. Okay, so why is she not married yet?
Because the brothers who live in our area, they just, if I look at them, I would want to give them a slap because they're all rubbish, basically.
Okay, well, Yani, okay, it's late. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother, especially in ethnic communities like ours.
I know, that's the thing, yeah.
It's late, but there's still hope. Okay, there's still hope. So, guys, look, you've heard what the brother has said. His sister, Jazakallah khair, she's looking to get married. Do the brother a solid and send an email to ahmadali786@hotmail.co.uk, and inshallah ta'ala, we can find your sister a good brother. Bismillah. Let's get these bachelors.
Yeah.
Let's turn these bachelors into married people, and bachelorettes for that matter.
And who's the person in the chat saying give this brother a slap? He needs a slap, to be honest.
Yeah, shall I give him a slap? Give him a
Yeah,
slap.
yeah, the metaphorical
Who's that,
one.
bro? Let's pull the slap out. Boom. All right, my man. Jazakallah khair for coming on, akhi.
All right, thank you, bro. I'll be on soon again. Next time with camera, though.
Inshallah. Look after yourself, my man.
All right, thanks, bro. Nice one. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. And guys, when you do send those emails, keep it respectful, please. Yeah. Jazakumullah khair. Huda, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Where are you from, Sister
Brother
Huda?
Mahdi. So I'm talking from Sweden, and excuse
from
my
You are
yes.
Somali. You are Somali from Sweden.
I'm what?
You are Somali from Sweden, right? Somali sister.
No, I'm Palestinian.
Palestinian.
Actually.
Okay. One of my wives speaks Swedish. One of my wives speaks Swedish.
Yeah, and excuse my language. I just try to I can understand more than I can talk in English. But anyway, I have to just start with saying I'm very, very new in your channel, and I have to say that I highly respect you and respect your opinions and how you tackle the critical issues. Although I don't agree 100% with all your opinions, but I respect the way you deliver it anyway. On the today's subject, which I can find a little bit provocative. Leftover. Yeah, I don't know if you use it like a marketing way. You deliver it that way. You choose these titles, or.
How old are you, Sister Huda?
Oh, okay. I am 38.
Right, so that's why you find it provocative. And how long have
you?
No.
I am married. I'm not.
You are married?
Single.
Okay, excellent.
I'm married and have 3 children. And I am pharmacist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? What's the problem?
So it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Actually, I just, as a sister, I want to give you like a piece of advice if you can accept it from your. Okay. Okay. So first of all, I don't know why you're trying. Okay. First of all, you are.
Before you get to the advice, I want to know exactly what is it that you disagree with that has triggered this wanting you to give me some advice. What is it that you disagree with?
Okay. As I said before, I just joined your channel very, very recently. Like 1 month.
Your voice has gone. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Well, she disappeared. Sister Huda, if you call back in, I will pull you on. What I'm about to do now Let's pull two of our black label brothers in. Riyadh and Nicholas. Yes, what's going on?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. What's going on, guys?
Oh man, I got home and I just got back from a long day of travel, and I sit down like I just want to relax, and I turn on the TV and my man's going live, and I was like, oh, I gotta get on. I gotta get on. Support.
Same here. I just finished my second workout for the day. Just finished from the gym.
Hey, get in.
I had you in my ears while I was working out.
No way.
Yeah. I've got YouTube Premium, so I just locked the phone and I just listened. But I thought I'd call in because I'd finished my workout.
Listen, yeah, you know this YouTube Premium thing. You know how long I delayed getting that because I didn't see the value in it. Yeah, and then my social media guy says, Mahdi, look, they're doing 99p a month for 3 months. Just try it. I signed up for it. I can lock the phone and listen to what? Why didn't you guys tell me I can lock the phone?
Yeah,
because I don't care about ads. Sometimes I see ads. I like actually watching ads to learn from them. I find ads interesting.
Yeah,
you know, I like to learn from ads. But I can lock my phone and know the sweat doesn't push buttons and change the video. Bro, that's a big deal to me. I was getting emotional, like tears were forming in my eyes.
You basically have every audiobook in the world as well on YouTube. You have every podcast, you have every video you want to watch, every documentary. It's like kind of crazy, honestly.
Yeah, that's all he had to tell me. I can lock my phone. Sign me up, baby. I'm there. Okay, inshallah. What you brothers got to add to the discussion today? Nicholas, starting with you, my brother. Nicholas, by the way, for those of you who don't know,
I'm going to send it over to Riyadh. I want to listen. I have some things to add, but I would like to go a bit later.
1 second, Nicholas. One second. For those of you who might be new here, Nicholas just took his shahada 6 or 7 weeks ago. MashaAllah, actually live on YouTube. It wasn't on my channel. It was on Nasr al-Amin's, but you can find this shahada on my video. It's there. Anyway, Nick, carry on, Mo.
No, I want to send it to Riyadh. He go ahead first. I'll follow up after that.
Bismillah. Mine's not that long. Basically, the only thing I wanted to touch on was like, you know, the sisters that tend to try and use the example of Khadija radiallahu anha and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam need to remember something. Now, I'm not a scholar. I'll just make this very clear, like I always do. I'm not a student of knowledge, but if you look at it just from a very logical point of view, the marriage of the Prophet to Khadija radiallahu anha can be looked at as, by the almighty wisdom of Allah, that he put a lady or a woman in front of the Prophet for the purpose of marriage just prior to Nabuwat. Now imagine if the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, obviously he was the best of mankind, right? But imagine had it been a much younger woman having to be able to deal with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam coming back to her and talking to her and telling her these things about the revelation, about these things that are heavy. We can't even imagine, you know. He was in a mountain, in a cave, and an angel appeared to him, you know, and he had to take that, something so heavy, back home and to discuss it with somebody. Imagine had it been a much younger person, a much younger woman. So that scenario is very unique to the Prophet and his prophethood. And perhaps it can be seen as...
That's true. That's a good point, bro. I don't think that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I've always seen it. When I hear sisters or women talking about this, I think, okay, cool. Number one, you're not the Khadija radiallahu anha. Okay? Modern day women are nowhere near on the same level. Okay? And we're not anywhere, we can only aspire to be a fraction of what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was and to follow in his footsteps. But from a logical point of view, if you just looked at it this way, if it had been a much younger woman, perhaps that might not have been the ideal person that would have been able to share in that what would have been a very, very alarming, a very, very difficult thing to process and to deal with at that time. But when you read the way that she handled it and the way she was able to give him comfort and sharing what was something that was, you know, none of us can imagine. Maybe perhaps a younger woman might not have been able to deal with it like that. But then you look at the other wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they were much younger. A lot of them were much younger, to go on from there. So that's just something for sisters that use that example, is to look at the context as well. You can't just jump to the conclusion every time that, oh, this is the sunnah of the Prophet. His first wife was, but also it was early on in his nabuwwat when he started receiving revelation, which is a really, really heavy thing that none of us can really understand. So perhaps he needed a more mature, a more understanding person to be able to help and guide, and maybe not help and guide. That's not probably not the right word, but to have enough to be cognizant of the situation and to be able to support.
Whilst I actually am inclined to agreeing with you, we have to be careful unless this is backed by some type of scholarly backing. We have to be careful with conjecture, because although I see what you're saying, it's logical, it makes sense. Because it's a religious issue, it does need to be backed with religious evidence. So, yani, it makes sense, but we have to be careful in providing our own sort of interpretation.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree with you on that. Yeah, 100%.
Nick, what's going on, my man?
Man, that was a good point. I actually was just watching a documentary the other day, and it was about like how Islam came to be, and now I understand what all that was right there, because I now like the backstory now. So that was kind of awesome to see. I just watched that yesterday. But dude, I'm gonna give you 2 YouTube videos from this. So your editing team is gonna take this and they're gonna cut it and they're gonna make another video from it.
Wicked. Go, Bismillah, hit me.
So the question that I asked myself today, I had a flight today, and I have a closer connection to God as I'm on this flight. My Wi-Fi signal's stronger. I'm a little bit higher in the sky, and I got my journal out and I wrote the question: what do I think about marriage with everyone else's opinion stripped away? Because this is a problem that I've seen. I've noticed this in business a lot. I've noticed this in just life in general. When you have too many people injecting opinions, you just have to remove everyone. What do I think about this? What do I think? And sometimes it just takes like deep thought to get to it. And a lot of the question was that what I kept writing down was like, am I ready for marriage? And am I ready to hold the frame that I need to hold with a woman? Because I listened to a lot of your videos, man, and I think about what I want from a marriage, how I want my wife to be, how I want my relationship with her to be. And that was the question I kept asking myself and kind of just journaling on, was like, am I ready for this right now? Because I think sometimes when I hear brothers talk about it, and some of the brothers I've even met where I know them, I've seen them, I've been around them, and I know how they act with me, and obviously it can be different in a woman, but I'm just like, I have a different background than a lot of people, you know, like I wasn't always Muslim. So I understand female dynamics very well. Like a lot of my brothers that I'm around in the masjid, they're virgins. They've never even been with a woman before. So they don't really understand that at all. So I've been able to see this, and I understand like the male-female dynamic. The question I kept asking myself, am I ready for that? Am I ready to hold the frame I know I need to hold to make sure the relationship stays in the way that it needs to stay, where you have a submissive wife and you have a dominant husband, like a masculine husband? I think it's harder here in America than it is if I were to go perhaps like overseas for it. But what I was getting to with some of the brothers I've met is it seems like they're almost rushing it because they want to go and taste this as fast as possible. Like I've never even been able to be with a woman. They just wanted to get it done as fast as possible. But I look at it and I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like he's not there quite yet for it. Maybe I'm making a mistake there, but that was just the prompt that I had. And I thought this would be an interesting discussion since we're on the topic of marriage. We're on the topic of leftover women and everything like that. I had about 20 to 30 minutes where I was just journaling on this entire question. Am I ready? Am I ready for it? And the conclusion that I came to, if I had to be honest with myself, I said, I would like rather to get married at the man I know I'm going to be when I'm 27, because I'm 23 at 27, 25, 24, who cares? But like I see who I am now, and I think about who I'm going to be when I'm 26, I'm 27. And it really makes me think, I feel like that man would be much more equipped for marriage. So for your team, the topic is, are you ready for marriage as a Muslim? There you go. That's the headline. Great vidIQ. You can get that for the keywords and everything. That's going to SEO high on YouTube and everything. I felt like this would be a really good direction to take the conversation, because I don't have the answer. I feel like I have my answer, but when you and I have talked about this, I feel like this is a really interesting discussion that probably some other Muslim brothers have had, and even just, you know, people like me that are new to this.
I'll tell you something, Nick. Shall I tell you something? Yeah. You know how the best way to learn how to swim is to get in the water. The best way to learn how to drive is to just get in the car and start driving. The best way to make your way in business is to stop reading books and just to start the damn business and just get going. The best way to fast track your effectiveness in a marriage with a woman is to just get married. I'll be honest with you. I got married at 16. Okay.
Yeah.
When the night before I got married, and I've never told this story before, the night before I got married, I was your regular dude. Okay. I wasn't even praying. But the sister that I married, my wife to be at that moment in time, she was covered, had hijab and jilbab. That's what attracted me to her. For the sisters who are wondering, by the way, if your abaya and hijab is a put off, no. I wasn't practicing, and what attracted me to her was the hijab and the abaya. Why? Because I said to myself, we don't mess around with these girls. We wife these girls. Even at 16, I knew that. We mess around with these girls. The ones that don't dress properly, those are the mess around girls. But these ones, we don't mess around with them. Even I knew that at 16. So anyway, the night before I married her, I wasn't praying. The very next day after I married her, I never missed a salah ever again in my life. That's from Allah. Allah literally, Allah is muqallib al-qulub, the turner of the hearts. He turned my heart in one night. And I started practicing all the rest of it. I stopped all of the haram things, everything just stopped in one go. And I started practicing. The point here is, and that guidance is from Allah, it's not from myself. The point I'm making is that immediately I grew up. I was far beyond my years very quickly. My friend group were men who were in their 30s and beyond. They became my friends because I literally couldn't relate to kids my age. I was a kid. I was 16, right?
Brother, you're telling my story just without the marriage. I don't have any friends around my age. It's all 30, 40, 50-year-old dudes that are my friends.
There you go. Well, there you go then, bro. It's especially in your case, Yani. And the point I'm alluding to is that whilst you are going to make mistakes, just as when you get into the car for the first time, you're going to make mistakes. First time, funny story, I drove a car, by the way, was my uncle's car when I was 14. I'm going to say it now, even though he told me to never tell my dad, but my dad, sorry, Baba, it actually happened. I was 14 years old. The night before I was going to Algeria, my uncle was like, man, did you want to drive my car? I was like, yalla, show me, drive the car. I get into his car, I drive it in a car park, and I turn it, and I don't take my hand off the steering wheel, and I drive straight up another car in the car park, like boom, straight up. So I crashed the damn car. So you might, you might get a skirmish, you might scrape the car, you might crash it. You might crash the damn thing, but you'll get better. Honestly, bro, especially for someone like yourself, Nick. And for those who don't know, Nick is very accomplished in what he does and is a very accomplished copywriter. And you guys probably wouldn't have even guessed he's 23 years old. He's got the demeanor of a 33-year-old, So especially for someone like you, Nick, I'd say, Yani, bismillah. If you want to, I know you mentioned, self-discipline and so on. Fine, whatever, bro. More power to you. But, akhi, when you get married, get married.
I want to push back and see where it goes with the pushback, okay?
Go, shoot.
Little jujitsu with it. So I grew up from a family, my parents were divorced. So I had dad, mom's house and everything. And I think about how much that sucked as a kid, because you have mom saying one thing, dad saying one thing, mom trying to equalize what dad said, going back and forth and everything. And so while I understand the analogy of the swimming, of the car and everything, it also makes me think about the kids involved as well, because that's a big part of it too. I want to make sure if I get married, I know without a doubt, no divorce. No, I don't want that. I don't want to put it on the record at all. I don't want it on my Carfax report that I got divorced. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want any of that. So that's kind of where I'm looking at for myself. I'm just like, I'm very critical with myself. Am I in a position, like, what's the likelihood that I'm going to make a wrong decision at this age? I'm like, well, I'm like kind of high.
Let me tell you something, bro. I used to have this mindset that divorce is absolutely not on the cards, because I got it from my father. My father, without going into details, he went through a lot to keep this family together. And what I saw really impacted me deeply, and it printed me deeply. And when I was going through my issues with my first wife, I said to her, woman, I don't even care if you don't love me. We're making this work. We're not getting divorced. I don't care if you don't love me, but we're making this work. What I indirectly did, Nick, was gave her carte blanche. I gave her a green flag to do whatever the hell she wanted to do. Disrespect, violations, whatever. Because I made it clear to her that I'm not willing to take any serious punitive measures. Now, I'm not saying that a man should immediately threaten or divorce his wife straight away. I am not saying that. You absolutely shouldn't do that.
Did you say that?
You absolutely shouldn't do that. But you should always maintain the mindset of, woman, if you cross the line and you don't fall back, you're gonna have to shut the door on your way out. And ironically, when you have that mindset, she's actually more likely to fall back in line. Just like in business, we were talking, me and you, the other day. I think it was me and you, Nick. Who has more leverage? The one who's willing to walk away. He who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative. When you're willing to walk away from a deal, Riyadh, you're in real estate. You know this. You brokering deals all the time. When you're willing to walk away from a deal, the other person feels that energy, and they are more inclined towards staying. Now, they might leave, you might lose that deal, but they feel that, they sense that. And a woman must know at all times that divorce is not an impossibility. You don't use it to threaten her or blackmail her and all that rubbish, but it's on the table, it's there. And she needs to know that it's a possibility if she doesn't fall back.
I've got a question for you, Nick, though. Can I just ask?
Before you ask that, Riyadh, real quick, I just want to grab this from Aya. Shout out to you for the £10 super chat, Aya. Jazakallah khair, Mahdi. I've seen scholars making points. We've gone through this regarding age, so I'm contradicting yours. So I'm sorry for being disagreeable. No problem, but I appreciate how open-minded you are. Very grateful for the practical advice on my situation. Jazakallah khair, Sister Aya. And yes, I'm glad you came on the call, because you're at a time in your life where you're still able to do something with that now. Yeah, please go for it, Riyadh.
Hit the lotto.
Hit the lotto, exactly. Riyadh, go for it, bro.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Only Allah knows, right? So we could, if we apply that to everything in life, we'd end up not doing a lot of things that we would have done that might have ended up being very successful. I'm assuming you're in business, Nick, as well, right? So, if you looked at the marriage as if it was a business, like before you went into business, did you know for sure that you were definitely going to be profitable and make money? And the thing with businesses is, like, if you were to apply the same logic to marriage, the persistence and the consistency of what you do and put into that business is what generally tends to mean that you're profitable and you do well in the long term in that. That's what I found anyway. Why would you not apply that same logic to potentially marriage? Because you didn't know when you were starting to get into whatever you were going to get into with business that it was definitely surefire going to happen. Like, divorce would never be on the cards for you. So it'd be interesting to get your perspective on that, because nobody really truly knows. And just on that as well, just to go back a little bit on what Mehdi said as well, like I got married, and I got married outside of my culture. So I'm mixed. I'm half Indian, half English. My wife is Pakistani, and you know that Pakistanis and Indians, they don't mix, right? And it was difficult. It was difficult. And when we first got married, one of the things, I'm not saying I'm a perfect Muslim, I have many shortcomings, but one of the things that allowed me, very similar to what Mehdi touched on, was that I wanted to be the best I could be as a Muslim. I wanted to be the best I could be in business and work. And being married to my wife allowed me to do that. So it brought a lot of khair that I never thought I would have got had I not taken that step. So just to push back a little bit on what you've said, have you thought about marriage in the same way as you would business or anything else in life?
Funny enough, Nabil, who I don't think have you had him on the channel yet, Mahdi?
I've done a private podcast with him, and there's a snippet of it that is on the channel, but he hasn't come on live.
We need to get him on live. Nabil and I were talking about this, and he was telling me that when it comes to my marriage, a bit of a tangent, but he was saying that when it comes to my marriage, you need to think of this as like a business deal, the way you're negotiating it, because there's every single detail of your nikah, everything like that. He's like, that's like a business deal. He's like, don't get put into a deal you don't want to be in. Don't let there be terms that you don't agree with just because you want to get married. So I've thought about it in that regard, but I've never looked at it from that perspective of like, when I look back to when I was first getting started in business, I never even thought of the possibility of failure with it. I was like, there was obviously the like little lingering fear, but I just was like, I got this. Like, I know I can do this. And I was just very confident in myself. And I feel like that's because it's all on me. But because there's another person, like what I'm most worried about is what we've created here in the West, especially with like just women's mentality in general, is it's something that I'm realizing I don't have all the control in what's happening there. Like it very well could be that I do all the right things, but then I end up getting with someone who had these ideas, these tendencies, these, let's say, more left leaning, or let's say more like feminist tendencies that even though I'm doing everything I can to be able to set the frame on it, it doesn't end up working out. So part of me is even looking at it like, how do I increase the probability of making sure that I get the right partner? I mean, we said this on the last podcast, Monty. Part of me was just like, maybe I need to go overseas. Maybe I need to go to some other countries where it's a little bit more standards there. Because I mean, I've met a few Muslim sisters now, but I'm just like hearing some of them talk, and I'm just like, what? I'm like, what are you saying? How does that? We'll keep it decent on the channel, but what would you guys say to that in terms of maybe it's not here, maybe it's that I need to go somewhere else?
Yeah, especially in America, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. Shout out to my American brothers and sisters, but I don't know, like, they're moving mad. They're moving mad. The Dawah scene's moving mad. It's just a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. Of course, there are always a cohort. Yeah, they're moving bookie. There's always a cohort of Muslims who are holding it down, alhamdulillah. But I see some crazy stuff from these Muslim influencers in America. So I don't know what to tell you, Nick, bro. Honestly, Annie, you've got options. You are upwardly mobile. You're upwardly mobile, and you've got options. Explore them.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what I think kind of I came to. I was writing this. I was like, I need to like give myself more time to explore it, so I make sure I make the right decision with it. Because like, dude, what I can say, what a lot of these girls are trying to do, that's like my worst. I mean, I would never do this. These girls are trying to be just Instagram influencers, and they want to post their whole marriage all over Instagram. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, what was the word you were telling me the other week where it was like having some shame or some
haya.
Haya. And I was like, and their husbands are being posted as well, and they're throwing up pictures, and I was just like, how, and you try and take the Instagram from them, it's like taking a child from them, basically. It's this thing they've grown for 20 years, basically their entire life. So yeah, like when I really think about it, there's been sisters, unfortunately, they're like 40 from your channel who have like DM'd me and everything, who are trying to set me up like with their daughters, but their daughters are very, very young, to the point where I'm like, I don't know, I'm okay on that. But yeah, I was like, I get it. I understand that it's accepted, but I'm personally like, I would like a little bit older. But yeah, I think that's kind of the thing I came to when I was just at the end of this journal entry. I was like, I need more experience and more time before I make that decision. I want to do it. I definitely want to. There's no doubt in my mind that I want to do it, and it's part of the path I want to walk. But 100%, I feel like this country is not the place to make that decision. Because I have access to it. If I didn't have access and I'm making $50K a year or something, hey, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. But like, I could get on a flight to Abu Dhabi tomorrow if I really wanted to.
Right. So as I was saying, bro, you're upwardly mobile. You are able to explore your options. Go and explore them. But I will say one thing though. This is actually something Tate mentioned once. Very interesting. Paradox of choice, man. He was like, one thing about having lots of money is that nothing is enjoyable anymore. And the interviewer asked him to explain on the podcast. He was like, when I'm in Greece, because I can get on a jet and be in the other side of the world in just a matter of hours, I am constantly thinking, am I really at the best party right now? This is before he became Muslim. And I am constantly thinking, is this really the best party, or is there somewhere else? And then I go on Instagram and I see the next place, and I'm like, you know what? I want to go here. So in the morning I'm in Greece, and in the PM I'm in Paris having dinner at this place. And the whole time I'm on Instagram looking for new places, and I'm like, did I really make the right choice? Maybe I should have gone there. So that's the only thing with having options, is that you start to suffer from this paradox of choice. So just bear that in mind.
It's a good point, man. It's a good point. And then we end the clip right there. And there's a nice 6-minute YouTube video. Get the content going. Get the algo going.
I've actually got Sister Huda back in the chat, so I'm going to bring her on. But gentlemen, I'll see you back on Black Label, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, Sister Huda, let's bring you back on. Bismillah. And by the way, actually, before I bring Sister Huda on, Black Label, guys, by the way, is I don't really talk about it much on YouTube or anything like that, because it's if you are a gentleman who is distinguished in business or is an influencer, DM me. All right, because it's a private group for individuals who are distinguished in business or are influencers, or both, preferably. And it's a private group of bright minds whereby we pick each other's minds on our business hurdles and just network. It's a networking group for high-performing individuals, basically. All right. So if you fit that bill, even if you're like a doctor or something like this, no problem. DM me on Instagram at the Mahdi Tijani, and we can have a chat, see if you're a good fit for the group. Sister Huda, you're back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I'm sorry.
Yes, you had a disagreement for me.
Yeah, disagreement. Okay, yeah. Just basically when you talk about alpha male who's like unable to take more than one wife, and you put it in a like it's a must-have, not an option.
Whoa, when did I say this? When did
This
I
is
say
this.
Hold on, when did I say this? When did I say this? Which video? And what were my words?
There is a stream I watched.
An alpha
Like
male.
one.
An alpha male must take multiple wives. Is that what you're saying?
And you're missing what you if you didn't get another second wife, if you are like
Sister,
second
listen,
degree
Sister
man,
Aya,
you can't.
if you're going to quote me, you must quote me exactly verbatim, word for word. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah, you know what? I will do that. I didn't expect even to speak to you. To be honest,
Okay, no so
this is the first time ever. Yeah, this is the first time ever I'm on a stream, so I'm a little bit.
Hold on. So instead of what we'll do is this: instead of saying you said this or you said that, just basically give me the general gist of what it was you understood from the video, and we'll discuss that to the point.
Okay. But first of all, just for that, just so we don't miss the today's subject.
Yes.
I wanted to tackle it first, or give my opinion on it first.
Okay, please do.
Don't
before you do that, let me just acknowledge Miss Saffron's £5 super chat. Thank you for the £5 super chat, Miss Saffron. I appreciate you. We're encouraged to pray istikhara for all matters, big or small. Keep it simple. Seek the counsel of your Lord and watch clarity befall in and around you. Jazakallahu khairan for the reminder, Miss Saffron. Yes, so on the topic of today's discussion, Sister Huda, go. Bismillah, hit me.
Yeah, Bismillah. Okay. The thing is, don't you see it, the late age of marriage for females, don't you see it as a consequence of a bigger problem? So instead of educating or sending your message to the female to not prioritize education over marriage, isn't like more important to fix the cause instead of the. Okay, I will tell you what. I think that's because of the men don't take their responsibilities. Don't you think that if every father, every brother, every uncle provide the secure environment to the female members in the family, they wouldn't take or think that it is like secure or more safer for me to have a degree to protect me from the zaman or whatever. Don't you think that?
So what we're saying is that it's men's fault, basically, that women.
It's not.
It's
not 100% men's
How much
fault.
percent? How much percent?
Okay, if we take that الرجال قوامون على النساء, so we will give them the bigger ratio or
but a man
percentage.
Can't be a qawwam
I can take that.
Hold on, a man can't be a qawwam over a woman if he's not married to her. So yes, الرجال قوامون على النساء once he's married to her.
No. So you don't think that it's
mothers and so on.
So you don't think that الرجال قوامون على النساء, even if he is a father or he is a big brother, so it's just for the man and wife.
Yes, for your mother and your sisters as well. But what I'm saying to you is that the specific discussion that we are tackling is the marriage issue, right? So I can't be a qawwam over a wife if she's not my wife. I have to be her husband first.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't want. Okay. Maybe my English is not helping me, but I mean that in every stage of female's life, there is a male who is responsible for her. Are we agree on this point? So if she's single, so her father, her bigger brothers, and so on, uncle, grandfather, so on. And when she is like a wife, so there is her husband, right? So because of this responsibility, we can, I think that the men take the bigger responsibility of this problem. They didn't provide the secure environment for the females to feel that secure,
what is a secure environment?
I'll tell you what. You said that you have many wives. Okay, I assume that they don't work, right?
We get by, alhamdulillah. We do okay.
The point is, think if la samahallah, something happened to you. Okay, just think of it. So how do you think? How is your female daughter's wife? Because yeah, you know what I mean.
Okay, look, let's take this conversation back to the crux of the matter. Okay, first of all, I don't know how early on you joined the stream or how late on you joined the stream, but understand this: the more educated a woman becomes, and I don't want to bore those who've been here for the past 2.5 hours, the more educated a woman becomes, the less likely it is she will ever get married. Why do you think this is, Sister Huda?
I understand what you are trying to say.
Why do you think this is?
If you give prioritized education to be more successful or to continue your by the way, I am master in business administration, so I got your point, but
and your husband,
I know what
is your husband
a pharmacist?
There you go.
No, pharmacist.
He's a pharmacist. Okay, so
and I did my master. And I did my master.
But that's my point, sister, is that you married someone who's similar to yourself. So in your case, alhamdulillah, Allah, yani, this is the qadr Allah has given you, alhamdulillah. Allah has blessed you in this regard, okay? But here's the thing, sister, is that the cohort of men who are pharmacists and doctors and so on is small. The reason why the more educated a woman becomes, the less likely it is she will ever get married, is because of women, not because of men. And let me explain. Women are hypergamous, like yourself. You married a pharmacist. Women want to marry someone who's at least at her level, preferably above her level, preferably above. The masters does not want to marry the man with no degree. Yeah, the doctor lady in general. The doctor lady, she doesn't want to marry the man with no degree. No, she wants to marry a man. Hold on. She wants to marry. I'm coming. She wants to marry a man who is similar to her. So the higher up she goes in her education and her career and so on, the fewer options there are, because that's just the way it goes. You know, there's a very few people at the top. So it becomes a double-edged sword, and she shoots herself in the foot, which is she's become extremely educated, mashallah, but now the choice of men to choose from is very small. Worse still, which compounds the problem, is that now she's older, and the men that she wants, well, she's competing with younger women, because that's who the men that she wants are looking at. They're looking at the younger women. Do you see the problem now?
Yeah. Okay. Before you continue, do you see that the percentage of, or the problem of late marriage age, because of the high studied the woman got? I don't know, like high percentage of PhD or master degree owners of females. So I can't like find a connection.
Majority of women who sister. The majority of women who graduate from university are females. This has actually become the case in the West specifically. I can't speak for anywhere else, but in the West, and they are graduating in the humanities for the most part, sociology, all of the ologies, right? But the majority of graduates are women now. More women graduate than men. It's not like
how old are them? When if you study 5 years, 23. So she's still in her peak. I mean,
she still has options. I would agree with you. She still has
options. So it's not education, brother Mahdi. It's not education alone. We can't take it like a main reason. Okay,
sister, you're missing the point. The point here is, the more educated she becomes, the fussier she becomes. I just had Sister Aya on the stream just now. Sister Aya is in her 4th year of medicine, studying to become a doctor. She has turned away more than 20 brothers, Sister Huda. Now, she happens to have another brother who she is seriously considering, and whom she is compatible with. And lo and behold, guess what? He's a doctor too. Well, he's about to become a doctor anyway. So she's lucky, alhamdulillah, and hopefully, inshallah, may Allah put barakah and bless them in their marriage, right? And make it happen for them. But that's a minority. Aya, if she manages to make this happen, and I hope she does, will be one of those who had a lucky escape The majority of those women who do actually take this path struggle greatly to find men who are similar to them in education, because those men are looking at the younger women. Here's the thing, Sister Huda, and this is especially the case with more educated men, or men who are more socioeconomically established. They earn more money, whether it's through education or whether it's through business. Here's the thing, all right? The more educated he becomes, the less he needs his woman to work or provide financially, because he has money, which means he can afford to prioritize what he really wants. A lot of these doctors, especially in ethnic communities in the Muslim world, they end up marrying some girl from back home. They don't even marry their classmates. They get some girl. They get
I don't see it, and I don't see it. And
they get some girl from the village. They get some girl from the village from back home who's young and obedient and mashallah, and he marries her because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about your degree or whatever else. Now, there is a class thing when it comes to degrees, and some families will say, if you want to marry our son, you have to have a minimum of a bachelor's. But I never heard a family say you have to have a minimum of a PhD or be a doctor yourself and so on. This is not a requirement. It's not a thing.
We can't generalize. Actually, we can't generalize. I'm thinking you're talking, and I'm trying to go through all my friends and my relatives and so on. All of them.
That's
all
great.
doctors or engineers or take at least
your friends and your relatives are not a representation of the world. Your experiences,
so who are
that's great, but we look at the bigger picture and the stats, and the stats are clear. One of those stats is, and I stole this straight from Jordan Peterson's podcast, the more educated a woman becomes, the less likely
I'm not against this idea,
marry, because there are less options available to her. Does that make sense?
Okay. Let me ask you in a different words. Okay. Are you with or without, in general, female get educated going to university? Or not the university. I don't know what it's called in English, the 3 years education, mahad.
Yeah, bachelor's, yep.
Bachelor's, okay. So are you whether agree or not agree on the idea?
If the choices that you are presenting are between a woman not getting her education but getting married, or a woman getting her education but not getting married, then I would say absolutely it's better that she doesn't get her education. If those are the options, I would say, and by the way, we have even touched upon the insidious leftist ideologies that are infecting the universities and infecting the minds of the young. We have even spoken about that, and Sister Aya actually alluded to that on her coming on just now. She's a doctor in the making, and she's telling the other sisters, I don't recommend you to come to uni. And she's about to become a doctor. She's still in uni, and her voice in this regard is quite valid, because she's actually in the cesspit. She's there. She's experiencing it firsthand. She's got her finger on the pulse, and she's telling other sisters, look, it's not about this university life, because it's hard on the iman. It's tough on your iman. To answer your question, if the choice is between this and that, I would say to you, yes, stuff your education, prioritize your marriage. I will say to as this though, why, if you can get married and you want to continue your studies, if this is something that you're able to do, no problem.
That's wonderful. So that's wonderful. So complete the idea.
I will say this. I will say this. Okay. Remember, 70 to 80% of all divorces are initiated by women in general. But that figure climbs to 90% when we are dealing with the cohort of women who are university educated women. University educated women divorce their husbands at a rate of 90%. And the reason for that is hypergamy. She believes she deserves more. And possibly she's been infected with leftist ideologies and so on. So it's a real Russian roulette, Sister Huda.
Okay.
On that, I'll bring the next call on. Jazakallah khair. I think we've flogged that horse completely. Brother Ibrahim, salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you, brother?
Oh, your internet is jarring, Akhi. Try again.
Hi, do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro, but we've got there's some type of noise. It's like your mic's popping.
Do you hear me now?
Again, try one more time.
Can you hear me now?
No, I'm sorry, my bro. I can't hear you properly. Brother Ja'far, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
How you doing,
All right.
Brother Ja'far?
I'm doing fine,
Alhamdulillah.
thank
How are
you.
you, Akhi?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes, what you got, bro? Bismillah, tafadhal.
Okay, so I have a single question, which is, so I'm 18 right now in university, and I have like, I don't know, this urge to get married, but like I'm worried that, you know, maybe like I can't study at the same time and take care of my wife and children, possibly. So my question is, do you think I should wait to finish my studies or
Do you fear haram?
get married right now?
Do you fear haram?
What?
Do you fear falling into haram?
Alhamdulillah, no, I don't feel like doing zina or anything like that.
Okay, well then, if you're able to be patient, then be patient.
So you think it's better to wait after my studies?
It's not about better and worse. Yeah, it comes down to halal and haram. To be honest with you, if you said to me, "No, I'm worried, like I'm about to commit haram," I'd say to you, "Then get married." Look, I got married and I finished my studies. I got married at 16. I was still in college, bro. I just literally just started college. I finished all my studies. I went to university and all that crap. I did it all. But you know, if you're able to be patient, then be patient. If you can't, then get married. It's just simple as that. Simple as that.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
brother.
my man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Yalla,
you.
look after yourself. Assalamu alaikum, Ja'far. Sister Aya has something else to add. Sister Aya, what you got to add? Bismillah, tfaddali. Yes, you're on. Bismillah.
I wrote it in because I didn't want to take up more time, but I just wanted to give hope to the brothers and say that degrees actually not that important anymore. Especially even with like sisters that have degrees, our kind of like hypergamous nature comes out more wanting someone with like more ambition and more drive, and kind of like who wants to, like, I don't know, set up loads of side hustles or like work really hard. But actually we're seeing now a lot of brothers who go to uni are becoming like kind of very spoiled and like spoiled by the fitna and like don't actually have that much drive, unfortunately. That's obviously not everybody. So just saying that, like, don't worry too much if you don't have a degree. It's actually quite attractive to sisters at uni at the moment if you have like drive in other ways. Yeah.
Shukran, Sister Aya. I appreciate that. Thank you for that addition. Jazakallah khair. What I will add to that is that there is a class thing with degrees. Yeah, and this is flipping scammers, and they know it. Degrees, by and large, are pretty much useless, aside from the education, the application element, the ability to apply yourself to something difficult for a prolonged period of time. That's quite subjective anyway. You know, business will require that. Most jobs will require that. But anyway, whatever. But there is a class thing with degrees that families do really look at, and that is when you get a degree, you basically become middle class. Yeah, it's like your ticket to become middle class. Imagine, bruv, imagine having an aspiration to wanting to become middle class. My long-term drive and goal is to become the middle. Dead. That's your long-term ambition. That's your drive to become the middle. Whatever. Anyway, but there is a class thing with degrees. That is, some families will turn you away. Even they'll turn girls away if they don't have a degree. It's a real thing. It does exist. It's a classist thing. You don't have a degree, you can't come to our family. So there is that to bear in mind. But usually it's a bachelor's. It's not like a master's or a PhD or anything like this. But nevertheless, it's just something to bear in mind. Practically speaking, however, it serves little use unless you are going into a profession that demands it. Engineer, doctor, pharmacist, you know the rest. All right. Bills.
Salam alaikum, Mahdi. How are you, my friend?
What's going on, brother? Yes, Akhi, you come to tell me that Algeria football team is better than Morocco. I already know. What else?
Well, no, I guess I'm going to tell you that. Well, basically, what I wanted to say was,
I want Britain to be back British.
No, I want Britain to be like Britain. Well, I want Britain to be more like Morocco at the moment because, like, this Britain is a bit dull here at the moment, isn't it?
Go on, son. What you got for me? What you got to add to the discussion, big man?
So I'm actually not sure that women marrying at an older age or not being married at an older age is actually a problem, because I think that a woman getting married at 30
There's
or
always
35,
one. There's always one. Go on, Bills. Go on.
I think that a woman getting married at an older age, like 30 or 35 or even 40, I think that she can. I think even if she can't have children, it's not really a problem, is it? You should just. I think more people should just be grateful for what Allah has provided you. You know.
Yeah,
if,
I mean, bro,
Allah,
Bills, it's not a problem. If you don't rate your DNA like that and you want your DNA to reach the end of the line, the end of the production line, and for it to end right here, like no more reproduction, terminate this line, this batch of DNA must be terminated. If you're okay with that, then yeah, bro, there's no problem in marrying a sister who can't give you kids. Absolutely. Dead your DNA right there. Yeah, man.
Well, you know what? I am okay. Another thing is that I actually genuinely find older women more attractive.
Me, bruv.
I actually no, I'm not even lying. I actually do. When I look at a woman, if you take
Bilal, you are a class act. You know that. You are a class act. How old are you, Bilal?
I'm 21. I'm 21. I like women that are like 35. I actually do. I'm not even lying.
Right, listen to me. Listen.
Yeah.
You know, there is actually something. There's actually data on this. Funnily enough, and I'll actually quote the data. I've come across a channel recently. His name is Chisha Z, I think, or Chisa Z. He's a black gentleman. I don't know. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. He's got a couple 100K subscribers on his channel. Anyway, he had a video and he brought up there is data that younger men, there's a cohort of younger men who do have an affinity and an attraction towards older women. And interestingly enough, older men, once they reach that age, they are no longer interested in those older women. So this is very specific to a niche of younger men. And we can only guess as to why this may be, but I have a couple of theories. Number one, younger men and older women are pretty much the same, low value, low sexual market value I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's like, well, I ain't got many options. And the other one's like, well, I ain't got many options either. So it's like a match made in low sexual market value heaven. Do you understand? So it's like, man, I'm just like, yo, you know what? Yeah.
Where you put that is so funny, mate.
Oh my god! You know what I mean?
Okay.
So they're like, we get together.
No sexual market value ever. Okay.
I'm telling you, bro. That's what it is. I ain't got many options. She ain't got many options. So is what it is.
Yeah.
The other theory I have is that older women, they're on their last batch of eggs, and there is this primal drive to want to fertilize those eggs, even if consciously she doesn't want to fall pregnant. There's a primal drive, and that's why you have the term cougar. Older women, a niche of older women who go for younger men. There's a primal urge to want to fertilize those eggs, and they are most likely to fertilize those eggs with a younger man, because younger men have a higher sperm count, more virile, more fertile, more testosterone, everything than older men, right?
Yeah.
So there's that side to the coin as well. But trust me, Bills, and when you get older, I don't think you're going to be feeling this way, bro.
Okay. All right then.
But what are you saying, Bilal? So you're saying you want your DNA to reach the end of the line, yeah? To be discontinued.
No, I don't. All I'm
discontinued
saying is
stock.
all I'm saying is that I'm grateful for what Allah provides for me. If Allah wants to give me children, then I'm happy. If Allah decides, that my wife can't fall pregnant for whatever reason, then that's okay as well. It's like whatever happens, I'm happy.
I got you. But what's what's your plan, Yani? Are you gonna do you want to have kids or not? What's your preference?
My preference would be to have one kid, like just one, and just.
Why would you do that to the child, bruv? Lonely life. I'll speak to any only child. They'll tell you what a lonely life it is. Why would you do that to the poor thing?
Because I think one is all I could handle, I don't want to be too peak on my wife, because if my wife if my wife has too many children, she's gonna have too much pain in that pregnancy. You know what I'm saying?
Bilal, you are the proverbial nice guy, bro. You are that guy that girls love to talk to And but they're like, nah, you're my friend, be like, you're my mate, and they'll go to dinner with you, and they'll finesse the French toast out of you, and then she'll get smashed by Chad, Tyrone, and Maddie. On that bombshell, bro. I'm
Come on,
pray
man.
for
You
the
can't
next
say
one.
that. Why are you saying that to me, man? Come on, man.
You know I love you, bro.
I'm better than that, you know.
Bro, you are always welcome on this channel. I love you, my guy.
Oh, thank you, Mahdi. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much for your content.
Habibi, look after yourself. Salam alaikum, akhi.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Abu Muawiyah, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, first point I want to make was in reference to Sister Aya.
Where are you from, bro? You look like you're from the Caucasus region.
Man, everybody says something different. Some people think I'm like, I don't know.
You look like
Uyghur.
Habib's third cousin, bro, or maybe Hamzat's like
I'm
this
Turkish. I'm
relative.
Turkish.
No way, you're Turkish. Wow, okay, mashallah.
Okay,
Yeah, go on.
so the point is, first to the sister who was pretty much there in the beginning. I don't know if she has kind of like cleared this up. I wasn't there the entire time, but it kind of seemed like she was expecting for her to get like this high pergamous benefit out of marrying, or
One
she
second,
wants this.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to acknowledge this super chat here. RS, I shout out to you for the $10 super chat. Don't forget the indoctrination that happens in universities where feminism is pushed hard. Absolutely spot on. This is exactly what I was talking about. And it was a side point that we didn't even really get into, but it's something that is extremely insidious and highly effective and really warping the minds of the youth in uni. And we didn't even really touch on it. Yes, Ahi, please continue.
So the point is, it felt like she was expecting her to be able to get the 1% of men, like because she's in university, and I mean she had this brother who's becoming a doctor. That's like already 1%, but it felt like she wants 0.1%. And at the same time, she was expecting men to go for less, even though they can have more. And I think that's not quite honest attitude, or at least approach to the matter. I mean, it's somewhat emotional, so I get where she's coming from, but I mean, I'm 19, I'm turning 20 this year, and I'm not on this hypergamous scale.
You're 19 going on 33, my guy. Mashallah.
I mean, I don't want to look that old, but it can help in some circumstances. Perhaps that will push the subconscious hypergamous reaction in a woman.
Did you have any disagreement at all? Did you disagree with anything you heard or anything that the sister said?
Yeah, the point that she was expecting men to be able to like just forego this preference of age and want to marry a woman that's maybe 3 years older, 2 years older. I mean, if you can marry someone who's 22 and instead of being like 25, 26, whatever, then of course you go for 22, especially if you want kids. I mean, in your case, you want 20 kids. That's already a pretty good mission, to be honest. I mean, I want 10. It's only half of it, but
only, bro, that's a lot of kids, bro. 10 is a lot.
I mean, it's a good goal to set. So either way, it really depends on what you want. I mean, as a man, I would never want to marry someone who's like 35 if I want kids, and that's what many men want. Unless you're like no strings nikah and then khalas, then it's already done. Like you can pretty much marry anyone.
Abu Muawiyah, my man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna bring on the next caller, inshallah. Okay.
Yeah, inshallah.
Take care, Habibi. Assalamu alaikum. All right, Saeed. Assalamu alaikum.
Hi, assalamu alaikum, Mahdi. How are you today?
Ain't no Saeed. What type of Saeed is this?
Apologies. I use my surname because I don't want to use my first name. So I'm a sister. It's not my intention to mislead. But basically, I'm going to put it out there as a single mother myself. So when I was studying law.
How old are you, sister?
I'm 31 years old. So,
okay.
I wanted to get married when I was 22, 23. Now, unfortunately, my community was not very forgiving of the fact that I wore hijab at that time and that I was tall for my height. A lot of men were very particular. They didn't like the fact that I did law. There was a lot of unrealistic expectations. In the end, I also compromised and married my husband. I took a divorce because he wasn't fulfilling his responsibilities of our nikah, and we do have a child together. Now,
hold on. We're glossing over a few details here. So you said you compromised, which sounds to me like he wasn't your first choice.
no, he wasn't my first choice. And to be honest, looking back at it now, it was a foolish thing to be stringent on. But because I'm 5'7", I wanted someone that was taller than me. Honestly, education and height was like one of my few preferences. That's it. And my spouse that I married was the same height, so I compromised, married him, and
So he was 5'7" as well, yeah.
Yeah. So I compromised
Okay,
on
so
height.
what was the deal? What was it that he was doing or not doing, for that matter, that triggered you to get a khul?
So in that instance, he didn't want to provide for us at all.
Elaborate. Elaborate. What do you mean?
In the sense that even when I was on maternity leave, even when I was made redundant from my job, there was no active way of he was mashallah, he had a good job, still does. He's very well to do, earned 3 times more than I did. I was more than happy to be a stay-at-home mom. He didn't want to provide. And
Why?
he had so many excuses, but
Does he gamble?
this is the thing. As far as I'm aware, he never gambled. He never.
Did he have any vices? Alcohol? I don't know. Hookers? I don't know.
Not as far as I was aware. He never smoked in my presence. He loved vaping.
So
Vape was one.
Why would he not want to provide for his own flesh and blood, his child and his wife? Why would he not want to?
He always complained about costs. So, for example, during lockdown, when only supermarkets were available for me to buy clothes for my child, he'd complain about the prices of baby bills, complain about gas bills, complain about everything. And obviously, in the UK, if you're redundant and you're a spouse, you get nothing because your spouse is expected to provide for you. And to be honest, I got sick of it because I was far from my family. It was difficult for me. So in the end, I took Ola and moved back to the UK. Unfortunately, what I found, particularly within the Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Asian community, I'm talking to all you men out there, you are very delusional, both men and women.
Shots fired. Go on. What do you mean? In what regard?
In what regard? So I'm single myself and I am looking, and I work very, very hard. I run 2 businesses. I work full time to provide for my household. And I'm the kind of person, with the right person, would happily give it all up to be somebody's wife and have more kids in future. I'm very amenable like that. But the moment I mention that I'm a single parent, I get looked down upon, which is non-Islamic at all. And this is coming from someone who had a very strict background. I
can
never
give
met.
you a very simple solution, sister. I can give you a very simple solution. Very simple. Do you have a son or a daughter?
I have a daughter.
Oof, you have a daughter. Okay, well, this advice applies even more, and that is, you don't need to be a single mom. If you want to get married again, no problem. Give the girl back to her father. You're not a single mom anymore.
He doesn't want to look after her.
What do you mean?
He makes no effort to come and see her. He makes no
So he does not want anything to do with his daughter.
Not really.
What do you mean, not really? If he was on this conversation right now and he was in the third panel on the other side of me, that side there, and he heard you say that, what would he say back in return?
He would probably accuse me of a lot of things and say that I've been blocking contact and whatnot, which hasn't been the case. I simply
why would he say that? So I want you to imagine he's here right now. He's on the other side of me, and he's just said you've been blocking contact. Why would he say that?
Because when I got divorced, I was left in a very difficult financial position. So I had 2 choices: either stay where I was or move back to mainland England so I could earn an income that was sufficient for my daughter. So I had to move back and be close to family again so I could provide a support and a community for my daughter.
Were you living on the British Isles?
Yes, I was. I don't want to say where exactly because
you said mainland England, so I'm thinking you're on one of the British Isles or something.
Yeah, so I was outside of mainland England, but I'm not going to say where because I don't want to disclose that information. But you know, I moved back for my child to be more around a Muslim community. You know, halal meat wasn't always accessible. I struggled getting hijabs. I had to fly to get even Islamic books for my young daughter. So that was the reason I moved back. And unfortunately, in this day and age, a lot of men look down on single mothers despite the qualities they have. And I wouldn't say I'm particularly old myself.
Why do you think that is, sister? Why do you think, let's change the wording a bit. Instead of saying look down, why do you think that a man would have a slight aversion towards taking on another man's children as opposed to marrying a woman who doesn't have children with another man? Why do you think that is?
I think that they don't want to commit to the responsibility, even though I know multiple men and women and brothers and sisters out there who have married single parents, both sides, single dads and single mothers, and they've been very, very happy. Men nowadays, they just don't want the responsibility.
Let me ask you a question. Would you marry a man who has a daughter, okay, and you are going to take on his daughter and provide for her as well? Or would you have a greater inclination towards a man who just doesn't have any kids? Which one do you prefer?
Either or. I actually have no preference.
That's disingenuous. That's like me saying to you, that's a disingenuous response. I don't believe that. That's like me saying to you, I give you £10 or I give you 0. Which one are you going to take? Which one do you have a greater preference to? And actually, the monetary example is actually quite relevant, because he's going to have to provide financially for a child. He's going to actually have to give money to a child that will have no Shari'i obligation to him when she grows up. None whatsoever. There's no family ties there. There's nothing there.
Islamically, it's further up the scale, because single mothers tend to be more righteous than younger women in this day and age. From what I've seen in the universities.
Are we going in today, sister? All right. So please tell me, based upon what evidence do you have to make this claim that single mums are more righteous?
I've seen this amongst ladies who are 18, 19, who are going out on the town, who, as soon as their parents drop them off to university, they take their hijab off, they go off to the clubs and shishas, and then they come back and put their hijab on. And I was never like that when I was a kid.
Whilst I'm sure that sisters in that, and men for that matter, in that age bracket do those things, sisters in your age bracket probably don't do those things. Okay, now you've got
more mature and more grounded.
Exactly, that's the problem. You're more mature. Do you know what mature beef is? Mature beef, it's hard and chewy, sister. Nobody wants mature beef.
I would hardly describe that myself as that, but if we're talking Islamically,
it's not an asset. It's not an asset. That's all I'm saying. Look, the other issue you have here is that, and I can tell you as a man, and I'm sure the men in the chat, and guys, you give your tuppence worth in the chat. Generally speaking, a man, especially the average Abdullah, let's use the average Abdullah archetype. Yeah, the average Abdullah, he's only got limited means in the first place. From those limited means he has, he wants to be able to give them to his own blood child. Now, I will tell you this, there are actually plenty of guys who will take you on, sister. You'll be happy to know. And I know this firsthand because I'm dealing with this, with my own marriage app. And I see this all the time. Single moms have options left, right, and center. All right, Kevin Samuels was wrong, guys. I hate to tell you. Now, the only thing is, there might not be options that you're interested in. It might not be brothers that you have a natural inclination towards, but you will have options nonetheless. You will have plenty of options. But I will tell you, generally, a man doesn't want to take on the responsibility of another man. Hence why I say to you, you will increase your chances of securing the type of man who you are more attracted to if you simply give your daughter back to your husband. That doesn't mean you don't see her. You still continue to see her. She comes around whenever and so on. But he is the primary caregiver, if you like. Especially if he's earning a respectable money, I'm sure he can make arrangements for her to be taken care of while she's at work, or where you guys can come to an amicable agreement of some sort. You can figure it out. And at the same time, the other problem you're going to have, sister, and I recommend that you read the book, The Boy Crisis by Dr. Warren Farrell. Okay. Children raised... The Boy Crisis, yeah.
Okay.
Children raised in the presence of a stepfather are 100 times more likely to be, I just need to censor my words for YouTube, to be physically misappropriated, flipping hell, to be sexually abused, yallah, if they censor me, they censor me, to be sexually abused than children raised in a two-parent household of which they are both related to. This is a real thing. This is real, sister. How
No,
old?
it is a real thing, which
How
is
old
why.
is your daughter? How old is she?
She's 3.5.
Okay, so she's still a baby. She's still young. She's still young, which is better. Okay, it's actually better. A man meeting her when she's a baby is better than meeting her when she's older. But still,
Of course, I
like,
mean it's something that's been told to me myself. You know, I like to think of myself as a reasonable person. You know, like you said, if you thought I was being disingenuous before, I'm actually not. Given the Muslim dating experience in this country, given the WhatsApp culture, I have to say it's disgusting the amount of stuff I've seen. And whether someone has a child, whether a man doesn't, no preference. I look at his deen, his personality, his characteristics.
What do you want from a husband? Tell me, yalla, tell me. What the archetype? What is the archetype, including physical appearance?
Archetype, physical appearance. Physical appearance is hard to describe. Everybody kind of has their own.
Well, how tall does he have to be? You're a tall lady yourself, so how tall does he have to be?
So I'm 5'7" myself, so probably someone who is 5'7" themselves. I would prefer. Okay.
So you're telling me you'd marry a man who's 5'7"?
Yeah, but this is the thing. I'd happily marry someone who's 5'7", but someone who's 5'7" wouldn't be happily to marry me because they want someone shorter who can wear heels.
You know what I found in my dealings with the brothers is that the shorter brothers like the taller women, and the taller brothers like the shorter women. It's like a cruel irony. Yeah, it's some
That's
cruel
really odd.
I like my compressed things. Yeah, maximum 5'2", 5'3". That's me. But
Allah made me this way.
Yeah, but when I speak to the shorter brothers, there are plenty of short brothers. It's not even just short, they're like they're tall sisters, and you're not even that tall to be fair. 5'7" is not a giant. But I know brothers who are like, she has to be 6 foot, giraffe thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm a giant in my community, in the Asian community, in that sense. Does that make sense?
I understand. Okay, so fine. We've gotten to the height thing. Talk to me about finance. How much do you have to be earning for you to feel like, yes, I feel comfortable, alhamdulillah?
I would say, if I'm being realistic, because obviously with the current job I have and businesses I run, that comes to an X amount. So I would have to say between 30 to 35,000.
Okay, that's average. That's fine. What percentage of the household bills do you want him to take on, to pay?
If I'm being, this is the thing. It depends on what it is. So, for example, obviously there's cost of living. You have to be reasonable, or whatnot. So, like the major things, I'm talking about stuff that I don't have, stuff that I shouldn't have to worry about day to day. So things like car insurance, rental, mortgage, gas bill, water, heating, clothes, food, that kind of thing. As a lady, I'm more than happy.
I must refute you. Mortgage is haram. Mortgage is haram, sister.
This is haram.
It is haram. It is haram. But in the UK, unfortunately, the reality is more brothers are going to be likely to take a mortgage.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Never mind. Okay, you want him to take care of basically everything. Okay, fine.
A lot of it.
You find how much as a percentage, yalla?
I would probably say between 60 to 80%, just so that I don't have that financial pressure on me as his wife.
I got you. Fine. And you've got one kid. Are you happy to give the daughter back to her father for him to be the primary caretaker?
Depends on him, if I'm being honest.
Are you happy to? I'm saying, are you happy to?
It's a hard question for me to answer because one, I have to be objective. I can't think emotionally as much as I want to. My heart, obviously, as a mother, would say no because I know my daughter. I believe I can raise her better. But
well, I'll just answer that for you. The stats fly in the face of that, actually, and you'll find it in The Boy Crisis as well by Dr. Warren Farrell, who's done extensive research on this. Children raised in a nuclear home are children who do best across the board, behavior-wise, grades-wise, academia-wise, everything-wise. But children raised in single mother homes fare the worst. They perform the worst across all cohorts. And in fact, seeing as we've got this here, and that's not to say single father homes, kids do better than single mother homes, but still the best case scenario is both parents together. In fact, I'm actually trying to find, got a short here on my channel somewhere.
No, the average nuclear home statistics do say that. It's not something I want to argue. I'm not going to argue with science, but Islamically,
okay, hold up, I got
he
it.
has a right over. Yes, he has a right over my daughter if he wants to, and he can prove to me that he will raise her in a manner that's appropriate to Islam. Then fine.
Hold on, sister. I'm gonna mute your mic. I'll mute your mic, and
Okay.
I'll mute my mic as well. I'll just go run this video through.
63% of youth suicides. 63% of youth suicides are from single mother homes. 90% of homelessness and runaway children are from single mother homes.
You can't put that on the mother.
85% of
No.
children who show behavioral disorders are from single mother homes. 80% of rapists with anger problems are from single mother homes. 71% of high school dropouts are from single mother homes. 70% of youths in operated institutions are from single mother homes. 80% of all the youths that are in prison are from single mother homes.
Single mother. So just to play that through to you, sister, I wanted to debunk the notion that and it's not like an attack on, I know single moms do their best. I know you guys, most of you do your best, and you're doing it, and shout out to you guys. This is not an attack.
Alhamdulillah.
This is not an attack on single moms. Hold on.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that you're attacking. They are based statistics and the science.
1 second, sister. 1 second. It's not an attack, exactly as you said. What it is an objective observation, and much of the reason the stats are the way they are is because, quite simply, dads police their kids more effectively than mums do, because dads just tend to be more scary in that regard. They carry more of an authoritarian air. So to answer your question, your daughter will, on a bounce of probabilities, fare much better with her dad than with you.
Okay, so obviously, as a single mother, I can only do what my capacity is. I realize that. I realize I have some limitations, but that is why I specifically brought my daughter back, so that she can be around her uncles, she can be around my brothers, she can be around positive male influences that would less likely debunk those statistics, and be in an environment where she will respect older male figures such as my grandfather, my father, my brothers, in that respect. And yes, they don't replace a father, but they do fill some void to some aspect. I can pull up Steve Harvey videos where, you know, he's run statistics the other way, or where he's actually seen.
No. There is no other video, sister. The stats are unequivocally clear on this. That if we are to, and again, nuclear home is best, but if we have to choose, it's better for a kid to be raised with their father than their mother as the primary custodian, if we are to choose. Okay, now the best case scenario is actually you actually both co-parent the child in an amicable way, and whereby the child doesn't feel tension between mom and dad. This is actually the best way to raise the child. But
like I said, it's up to him.
The uncle, the brother, the granddad, this is all like supplements.
No, they are. Like I said, that they can't replace him.
They can't. Supplements are good,
but they'll do their best.
So long as you have your main diet in place. But I sense from you that you don't want your daughter to be in her father's life as much as she should be.
I will say this, it is completely up to him. Whether he wants to be in her life, whether he doesn't. He needs to take that step. He needs to make that bond with his child. Again, it's his flesh and blood.
If he was on this call today and he was sat here right now on my other side here, and he said, okay, sister, not sister, whatever your name is, right? I'm going to say Sister S. He says to you, Sister S, fine, I'm happy to do this. I'd like to see the kid. I'd like to either go half on the parenting, or you can go and get married again, and I will be the main carer of our daughter, and you can see her, you know, whenever you're free or whatever. What would you say to this?
I would say on the basis that he can prove he can raise her properly.
And
I
what
have
does
that
that
concern.
mean? When women say this, prove, what they typically do is move the goalposts forever. So let's
No,
put
no, I'm not like
put
that.
what does that
I'm
mean?
not
What
like
does
that.
prove
I'm
mean?
not like that. She
What
needs
does
to
prove
be.
mean?
She needs to. So at the time, I would
Mhm.
say that when I obviously I don't know what he's like now, but at the time when I was married to my ex-spouse, he wasn't praying 5 times a day. He didn't read the Quran regularly. He wasn't the best influence for her at that time.
Mm.
He needs to be a good Muslim influence for her. He needs to care for her in the sense that to make sure she always has access to things like halal meat and a good Muslim community, so that she doesn't fall into being, for example, in university far away, in university abroad, where he can't keep an eye on her or look after her. Because I went to university close to my home, and I think that's why I stayed on the straight and narrow. And
I mean, look, whenever I hear brothers not praying, and that's when all my sympathy goes out the window. Look, look, Ikhwan, yani, as a reminder to the brothers and the sisters, some of the scholars hold the position that if you don't pray, you're not even Muslim, you're kafir. Do you understand that? Do you understand how serious that is? And minimum, yani best case scenario is that you're playing with fire, quite literally. Worst case scenario, you're not even Muslim. So when I hear you're not even praying, bro, I don't even know what to say at that point. Some schools of thought, like the Hanabila, for example, they won't even pray on you. You won't even get prayed upon.
Yeah.
You won't even be buried with the Muslims. Like it's
And
extreme.
And I honestly, I wouldn't say I was the perfect Muslim myself, but I did endeavor to pray as much as I can throughout my marriage and after my divorce. And even now, I try and pray in between my work and everything, because I need to be a good, positive Muslim role model for my daughter. It's not enough that for me that Jannat is at my feet. Yes, that's fine, but I need to be a good role model for her so she can follow in my footsteps. Mashallah, my daughter, she's learning Arabic, she's learning English. She stands next to me when I pray. She's a bright, kind, loving child, and I just want her to stay that way. That's all. That's all my request is.
Well, sister, like I said, you got me with the prayer thing, to be honest. What I'll say is this, yani, do your best to facilitate contact in as amicable a way as possible, and emphasis on the word amicable.
Allah.
Kids, they pick up on that tension and they hate it. They hate it because they feel like they're the flipping arbiters of justice between mum and dad. They're the ones who are constantly having to negotiate and broker peace treaties between squabbling mum and dad. It's a horrible.
Brother Mahdi, I'm going to stop you right there. As a woman who's seen a lot of family law cases myself, amongst my colleagues and stuff, yes, generally, not just Muslim women tend to be more spiteful when it comes to contact. For that very reason, I have tried to be objective and civil and cordial. I have put her interests first as my daughter. I have opened up many opportunities for contact. He has not taken them up, unfortunately.
Oh, sister, I wasn't saying you were doing that.
No, I'm just saying, but this is how women should be. You have to be civil, you have to be objective. You cannot use your child as a crutch. You cannot use your child as a weapon. It is wrong.
Good. I'm okay. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, but inshallah, just everybody who's on here, just pray for me and that pray that inshallah my daughter just stays the lovely little girl that she is.
How many more children do you want, sister? If a brother marries you, how many more children would you be happy to give him in an ideal world if you're able to?
In an ideal world, if I'm able to, as much as the biology of my physical being will allow, is the best way to put it, because I'm not sure if you're aware, I don't want to be censored or anything, but I'm going to put it in the most Islamic way possible. So unfortunately, female doctors will know this, male doctors will know this, depending on how you give birth the first time, it can affect subsequent births. So for example, births that happen by operation are usually C-section. Yeah. So births that usually happen by C-section are usually limited to 3 or 4 children, depending on the country. For example, UAE, limited to 3 children. I'm not sure what the rule is here, but it depends. So I personally did have an operation, so that's why I say as much as my body will allow.
Inshallah, may Allah make it easy for you, sister. You know,
inshallah.
I'm happy to
And
hear.
for you, brother, you've got multiple houses to run.
I mean, alhamdulillah, and I'm happy to hear that you are of the mindset of wanting to facilitate contact. You know, I don't know the other side of the story, but for your daughter's sake, Yani, do your best in that regard. Never get in the way or try to spite your nose to hurt your face, which is what a lot of women do.
Not at all. Not at all. It's one thing I will say to any other single mother out there, or even a mother that's within marriage. It is your child's objective and their opinion to make about their parents. You should never influence them in any way unless it's a positive influence. Wallahi, no matter what has happened between me and my ex-husband, I have never said a single bad word to my daughter, because it's up to her to make that bond. It's up to her father to make that bond with her, and they build that together. It's not my place to interrupt that or ruin that.
Barakallah fiqh, sister. I appreciate you coming on, sister. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for taking me on as well.
Take care, sister. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay, that was a good one. This has been a good live, guys. This has been a good live. If you guys want to contact me directly, by the way, I'll put all the links in the description. If you want to book a consultation, you want to pick my brains on something, we can do that. You can email me and we can set up a Zoom, inshallah ta'ala. But it's nearly midnight here. We've been going on for almost 3.5 hours. So we're going to end it there. Jazakumullah khair. Like the video on your way out, sub the channel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.